What's the score?
44-38 Lawrenceville.
Maybe we shouldn't do this. How much time's left?
1 minute exactly.
And welcome in. We're giving you some bonus coverage here on Strive. We have a nail biter of a JV basketball game, and we're going to show you the last minute of it here as Lawrenceville leads Peddie 44-38. There was a foul and a three-point attempt at the end of regulation, and a Peddie point guard drained all three free throws to send it into overtime. And Peddie's looking to make another miracle happen here as Lawrenceville's at the free throw line. 44-38, got a minute to go in overtime. This is bonus coverage on Strive. All right, so that was the final of the JV girls game between Lawrenceville and Peddie. Went into overtime. Wanted to show you the end of that there. Peddie tied it to go into regulation on a foul from a three-pointer, drained all three free throws to send it into overtime, but Lawrenceville was able to come on top. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be live with the varsity girls game between Peddie and Lawrenceville in about 10 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Good afternoon for those of you just joining us here as the 5 o'clock hour is about to hit. We had an overtime game with the JV team as Peddie tied it at the end of regulation to send it into overtime. The Lawrenceville JV team came out on top, so we are a little bit delayed, and we'll be back with a pregame show in 6 minutes, so don't go anywhere. All right, we have more bonus coverage as the JV boys are set to start here in the first quarter. Well, when the weather can't get any worse, we turn to hoops, where this matchup can't get any better, as Peddie welcomes Lawrenceville for the first game of a doubleheader. We have the girls starting, followed by the boys. A great matchup here, a Maple League matchup here on Strive, and it's all live next.
High school sports have such a capacity to be educational. We consider it to be an extension of the classroom. Peddie coaches model the behaviors and the core values that Peddie aims to instill in its students. Respect, honesty, scholarship, balance, courage, and integrity. Ultimately, we are trying to develop boys and girls to help them become men and women of integrity and empathy so that they will lead, be responsible, and help change the world for good. If we can accomplish that, we've accomplished great things, I think.
I'd say athletics are definitely a big part of the community. Over the summer, that's one of the biggest things I'm looking forward to, like just seeing everybody on the team again and getting back to play on the field. And I feel like we're not just like a team with like players, we're definitely a family, and we all trust each other and are there for each other.
We've been able to blend the swimming program with the athletic department and the academic level of the school, that our program is really geared towards education of the individual and of the team itself. And so trying to get 35 kids to understand why they're swimming, not only for themselves, but for each other as a collective group and a family, because that's ultimately the most important lesson that they need to learn.
And welcome back into the Eric B. Hansen Fieldhouse alongside Joe Vasile. I'm Tom Monfoletto, and we're about ready to get you started for some Maple League girls basketball action as the Peddie Falcons welcome in the Lawrenceville Big Red. The Peddie Falcons stand at 9-1 on the year. Head coach Sarah Kreider, in her third year as head coach, is off to an outstanding start. Lawrenceville comes in at 5-3 on the year under head coach Len Miller, and this should be an excellent one for you today. We're going to take a look at our Strive Spotlight here today, and that one is focused directly on Kate Hill. Kate Hill is a new sophomore here at Peddie. She is leading the team in scoring, averaging 11.4 points per game, and she has been an outstanding addition to this Peddie Falcon team. Her and Michaela Neuenheisen came from Ontario, Canada, where they played on the same provincial team, and Kate has been nothing but a positive influence so far. She's become a leader, and she has been outstanding for this Falcon team. And Joe, for Peddie to keep this streak going, Kate Hill is going to be one of the catalysts, as she's always been this season.
Certainly will have to be, and of course, she won the MVP of the Bullis Holiday Basketball Tournament. She came up huge with 27 points in the championship game there, and like you said, if Peddie's going to keep their winning streak alive here today, they're going to have to get a big contribution offensively out of Kate Hill.
And another standout performer for the Peddie Falcons this year has been Nare McCoy. McCoy is in her first year here at Peddie. She's a postgraduate. She eclipsed 1,000 points last year when she played for Bergen Tech from Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey, and she's somebody who the offense and the defense really revolves around, Joe.
Yeah, 8.1 points per game is her average, but also comes up big on the glass, averaging over 3.5 rebounds per game as well. You see there, she had her 1,000th career point last year. She was only the second player in Bergen Tech history to reach 1,000 points in her career.
Let's take a look at the previous results for the Peddie basketball team. Heading back to December, they defeated the Wilson School 47-45, and then they went up to Wardlaw and won 52-42. A tough loss to Blair, but a great bounce back against Mercersburg, as you see a pretty lopsided victory there. And then a huge win over Trenton Catholic, who's one of the most storied programs here in Mercer County, heading to the Tournament of Champions year after year, and some serious talent on that squad as well. And then a big win over Pennington, followed by a recent win over the Hill School. So it seems like Peddie and Blair, the two rivals, are the teams to beat here in the Maple League.
and it certainly should be that way. It's always nice when you've got the two big rivals as the teams to beat up at the top. It makes for obviously very interesting scoreboard watching as the season goes on, but also, as you see, just the one loss. Unfortunately, it did come in the league for Blair, but still overall a pretty darn good start to their season.
They are introducing the starting lineups now, so we will refer to the PA announcer as the starting lineups are introduced. So there you have the starters for the Peddie Falcons. A relatively new starter, Katya Perryman, the 6'2 junior out of Poughkeepsie, New York. There's a lot of size there, some athleticism, and it's the first time that we've seen them. When we did the Peddie Blair game earlier, Joe, we didn't see Katya play, but judging from looking at her in warm-ups, seems to be a valuable contributor to this Falcon team.
Yeah, not only in the fact that she can score a little bit, averaging about 6.5 points per game. She grabs rebounds, bit of a defensive player, but she also brings a lot of size down to the front court, and that's something that Peddie's going to really need tonight. And
she will join Michaela Neuenheisen down low. Neuenheisen, the 6'3 junior out of Strathroy, Ontario. As we mentioned earlier, she is Kate Hill's teammate on the Ontario team. So Michaela and Katya ready to do some work down low. To take the tip would be Neuenheisen and Jacqueline Klotz, the 6'1 guard out of Princeton Junction for the Lawrenceville Big Red. And the tip is won by Peddie as Kate Hill controls it at the top of the key. Kate Hill, outstanding vision, really gets this offense going. High basketball IQ and also a tremendous scoring threat as well. As you said, Joe, she garnered MVP honors at the Bullis tournament when she dropped 27 in the championship game. And this one rebounded by Perryman, and it's no good. But Kate Hill looks to get things going here for the Falcons. Look out for Megan Riley. That's the point guard for Lawrenceville. Talented senior from Norwood, New Jersey, as the basket there is made by number 32, Kennedy Guest Pritchett, to start off the scoring here. And they're going to call out of bounds on Leah Moran. So it'll be Lawrenceville basketball.
Yeah, Moran just there. A little bit of a brain fart, so to speak. Had her foot on the line when she caught the pass, just not knowing exactly where she was on the court.
In the corner for three, over the outstretched arms of Perryman. It's no good. And Neuenheisen fights for the rebound, but she'll be called for a travel. That three was shucked up there by Janine Kufi, the 5'4 point guard, freshman out of New York City. So Lawrenceville will maintain possession, and they will run a play underneath the basket.
But a good effort on the glass that time by Neuenheisen. She really was able to get down there and wrestle that one away.
Riley for three, it's no good. Rebound gets back to Amani Fernandez, who puts it up, and it's no good. Rebound, bucket, and it goes. Kennedy Guest Pritchett on the board once again for Lawrenceville, and she'll head to the free throw line for a three-point opportunity.
Guest Pritchett from Atlanta, Georgia. One of the few people actually on this Lawrenceville team from outside of the state of New Jersey.
Hey, Pritchett already making her name for herself in this game. We look to her to be a pretty dominant force down low. Good defense there by Neuenhuizen. She alters the shot by Klotz. And McCoy will eventually maintain possession. Here comes Kate Hill on the other end. Back to McCoy. McCoy, oh, this one in and out. Rebound goes to Guest Pritchett. And McCoy gets tangled up with her. They're going to call it jump ball, and it'll be Lawrenceville basketball. A little too strong there from McCoy on the break. I thought that was in. But in and out, unfortunate bounce there.
Yeah, she had a wide open look at the basket, and boy, that was about as good of a scoring opportunity as Peddie's got so far today, and so far they still haven't gotten anything to fall.
It's like Peddie running some sort of a matchup zone here as McCoy gets her foot on it, so we'll call it kickball, and it'll be Lawrenceville basketball. We are following a thrilling JV game as that went into overtime. Showed you some bonus coverage. If you scroll back, you can see some of the JV girls and boys game before we started this broadcast. And Fernandez misses from short. Berryman will push it. Neuenhuizen under the basket, can't control it, and the outlet pass will go out of bounds. So McCoy unable to come up with it. Some sloppy play so far. It's like they're just kind of getting their feet underneath them as we start things out here.
Yeah, and you can see Sarah Kreider on the sideline, visibly a little bit upset with the way that her team's been playing so far.
Klotz spots up from about 10 feet away, and she puts it in to give Lawrenceville a 6-0 advantage. Ball travels out of bounds, but it'll be Peddie basketball. Neuenhuizen, a soccer pass caught by Perryman. A little floater with the left hand, and she'll be fouled on the play, so she'll head to the line and shoot two. Good catch by Perryman. Looked like a wide receiver. With excellent hands. Good pass by Neuenhuizen. First free throw is no good from Perryman. Coach Miller sends Chloe Jones to the scoring table, and Jones will enter the game for Klotz. Klotz will sit out. Chloe Jones, a 5'5" guard out of Yardley, Pennsylvania, only a freshman, so some young talent on this Lawrenceville team. As Perryman's second free throw is no good.
Boy, and that's got to be deflating for Peddie. You get to the free throw line, and then Perryman just has a couple of them just be a little bit too strong.
So Lawrenceville now out to a 9-0 lead. Steals it back. Riley underneath. And Moran will come up with it now for the Falcons. Kate Hill now controls it. Looking to set something up on the offensive end.
Good tight defense being played here by the Big Red.
Perryman a little bit too strong. Gets her hands on it. It'll go out of bounds. Some substitutions. Looks like Mackenzie Scarrett in the game for Peddie, the 5'10" senior out of North Brunswick, New Jersey. As Fernandez will take it up for the Big Red. Fernandez guarded by Scarrett. Peddie transitioning from a zone defense back to man-to-man. Fernandez tries to get it underneath, and this one is knocked away by McCoy, and eventually out of bounds on Leah Moran, so it'll be Lawrenceville basketball. Chloe Jones will re-enter the game this time for Fernandez. Klotz escapes Kate Hill. Riley thought about it. Now gets it underneath to Guest Pritchett. Great defense by Nare McCoy, and she will draw a foul against Guest Pritchett. So a great job there by Nare McCoy getting some position underneath and drawing a foul. Just under 4.5 minutes to go here. Lawrenceville still with a 9-0 lead, playing some great defense. Peddie unable to get something going here. As the outlet pass goes to Moran. Quick pass to Scarrett, and Scarrett unable to come up with it.
Boy, and now nearly halfway through the first quarter, Peddie still without a bucket. it's getting to a point where, you know, I don't know what Sarah Kreider has to do to try and draw up something to get an easy look at the basket. Because even when they're getting easy looks, they haven't been able to get them to go.
Haven't been able to get them to go. The press has been giving them some issues, but you know, like you said, the second chance opportunities need to be converted as this one goes to Neuenhuizen, and Neuenhuizen puts Peddie on the board for the first time today.
And we'll see if that's something that Peddie can build off of now. At least you've got that psychological edge. All right, finally got some points up on the scoreboard.
Exactly. Kofi underneath to Guest Pritchett. A nice pass and a nice finish by the junior out of Atlanta, Georgia. McCoy underneath to Neuenhuizen. Scarrett for three. It's no good. She was wide open. That was a good look. Riley takes it down the court for Lawrenceville.
And can't really fault Scarrett for taking it that time. You get a wide open look from the wing like that, hard to pass it up.
Klotz for three, no good. Scarrett with the rebound. Fernandez giving her some trouble as Leah Moran will now take it up the court for the Falcons. Back to Kate Hill. Kate Hill very dangerous with the ball in her hands. Thinks about the three, gets it to Moran. Entry pass, nice move by McCoy, but this one goes off the back of the rim. And it'll be rebounded by Lawrenceville and headed the other way.
Well, it's still just one field goal so far for Peddie, as obviously you can see if you're looking at the scoreboard.
Peddie back into his zone defense. Fernandez, her feet are on the line. It's no good. And looked like some good defense underneath, but they're going to call Neuenhuizen for a foul. So Megan Riley will head to the free throw line and shoot two.
And that's, I believe, the second foul now on Peddie in this quarter. Lawrenceville with three, so already 5 fouls in the first few minutes of this game. Quite a few.
Rather physical game so far. First free throw from Riley is good.
Substitution here as Perryman's going to check back into the game, and Leah Moran will have a seat.
We're in the first quarter here of the front end of a basketball doubleheader as this one unable to fall through. Rebound goes to Klotz and eventually to Mackenzie Scarrett, and Scarrett is going to draw another foul on Kennedy Guest Pritchett. So that's 2 fouls early for the Lawrenceville center, and a good hustle by Scarrett to get that rebound. And we will have our first timeout on the floor. So we are in the middle of the girls varsity game. This will be immediately followed by the guys game as my papers fall to the floor. Joe Vasile, our color analyst, joining us here from the College of New Jersey, kind enough to spend some time here and almost save my papers.
Well, yeah, it almost fell down off this balcony that we're up on.
Yeah. So we're situated on the balcony. I was telling a story earlier to the athletic director here at Peddie, Jim Domaraki, who you saw in the intro video that we played, who has just an outstanding voice. I told him he should narrate John Grisham novels when he retires. But I was talking to him earlier about this field house. Now there are 2 courts here. And back when I was in high school, a backboard was shattered during the Peddie tournament, and they had to complete the games on the second court. So it helps when you have more than 1 court in the same facility. And this has been a beautiful field house. And they have an indoor track, obviously one of the best in the area.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm impressed that a backboard got shattered in a high school game.
Yeah, it was pretty outstanding, Joe. A couple of my friends just got up and left and didn't come back.
I can't say I blame them.
O'Reilly controls it at the top of the key. She finds Klotz. Good pump fake by Klotz. And good help defense underneath by Perryman as Neuenhuizen will grab the rebound for Peddie. So Peddie doing a great job on the glass as Fernandez steals it away. Good D once again by Perryman, and this time Scarrett comes away with the rebound. Head to Kate Hill. Looks like Hill has wanted to take that 3, but she's been defended well as they're taking that away from her. Goes all the way to the lane, does not draw the foul, and Lawrenceville will take over.
I got to tell you, Lawrenceville has really impressed me on defense so far. They certainly have come up with a nice game plan to shut down Peddie.
And this one will fall to build the lead to 15-2 And Lawrenceville will go back on the press, and Fernandez steals it away once again. Great dish underneath to Riley. And Megan Riley gives Lawrenceville a 15-point lead. It's been all Big Red so far today.
He has another timeout taken by Peddie, and things really starting to go from bad to worse. You know, we said that when they got that first basket, maybe that could help them at least a little bit with a psychological edge, get the weight off, but it certainly hasn't so far. It's been just one field goal made in this first quarter, and you know, I've seen some good defensive performances and some bad offensive performances, but this seems to be almost a combination of both here. Maybe Peddie just getting in their own head.
Could be. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that Peddie's just not getting shots to fall. I mean, they're getting the rebounds and they're getting some good looks, and I think that'll change as the game goes on. I just think that the law of averages will tell you that it'll turn around quickly here.
Well, certainly you figure if they keep getting the good looks that they've been getting, which granted they have been getting some good ones, that eventually they are going to start falling, just like you said.
And a lot of it rides on the hands of Kate Hill right here, who tosses this one out of bounds. A little miscommunication, so Lawrenceville will take over. As you said, it's been a quarter to forget for the Falcons. But back into that zone defense, which seems to help. A lot of Lawrenceville's points has been coming off of transition. They're getting some steals with their press, so Peddie needs to find a way to comfortably break that press and take care of the basketball as Klotz goes up with it. Good defense once again by Perryman, and they're going to call a foul on Lawrenceville. So it'll be Peddie basketball.
Yeah, big scrum for the ball there. Didn't quite see exactly what the foul was on, but that's now 5 fouls for the Big Red.
McCoy all the way to Scarrett, a little bit too strong, and Scarrett unable to control it for the Falcons. So Lawrenceville will take over. 48 seconds to go here in the first quarter with a 15-point lead. And Kate Hill with some good defense, and it looks like that goes off the foot of Chloe Jones. It'll be Peddie basketball, 34 seconds to go in the first quarter. Kate Hill doing a great job, not being discouraged.
Yeah, if there's one thing, you certainly can't fault the effort by Peddie out there. They're not discouraged by, the way things have gone, and they're certainly giving their best effort out there.
Hill looking for something, steps back, puts up a three, no good, in and out. Good rebound by Perryman, and Perryman puts it in. Katja Perryman with a chance at 3 points the old-fashioned way. Great rebound underneath, and those are the buckets that Peddie needs to keep getting. They've been dominating the boards. These second chance opportunities and putbacks are going to be what gets them back into this game.
And knocking down their free throws.
And knocking down the free throws. Perryman is 0 for 2 from the line today. And her third attempt is off the back rim, no good, but Nare McCoy gets the rebound, gets it back out to Kate Hill. Hill with 15 seconds left, finds Scarrett, back to Hill, good give and go, and Kate Hill off the glass and puts it in for Peddie.
And that's exactly what Peddie needed right there at the end of this quarter. Get something to build a little momentum off of.
And they are going to call a foul on the floor. It looks like this will be on Mackenzie Scarrett. So it will be a shooting foul. Riley heads to the line once again for Lawrenceville. So a 15-point lead, cut down to 11. Riley trying to add on to it right now. And the first free throw is good from the point guard. I'll make it 3 on the day for Riley. And the second one is good. Kate Hill with a half-court attempt. This is no good, so the first quarter goes to Lawrenceville, leading 19-6 here at Peddie to start off our doubleheader here on Strive. And we're going to give the reins over to Joe Vasile for the second quarter of play-by-play. Joe, what do you see here that Peddie needs to do to get back into this game?
Well, it's like you said, Tom. They just need to keep going at it. They've been getting some high-quality looks. They've been getting a lot of rebounds on the offensive glass, getting some good second-chance opportunities. And so far, they just haven't been able to get those looks to go. eventually that's going to start reversing itself, you'd imagine. And when that happens, I think we might have a game, because early on it seemed like Lawrenceville was getting some easy buckets, but Peddie really kind of put the clamp down defensively as the quarter went on.
And I think that the crowd is also starting to pile in here, so we're starting to get a good turnout here, and that energy could help propel this team as well.
Certainly should be interesting also to see what kind of adjustments is Sarah Kreider's going to be making to the offensive game plan, because Len Miller, the head coach of Lawrenceville, certainly seemed to have their offensive attack figured out in that first quarter.
Good game plan by Lawrenceville, executed well here in the first quarter. I need to stay with it, but I think that this game is going to be won on the glass. So second chance opportunities are key, and so far Peddie is winning that matchup.
Set the floor as Peddie will take the ball off the inbound. It will be Leah Moran acting as the trigger, and she'll look to get it into Kate Hill. Taken in by Skerritt. Now gives to Hill, carries it across the half-court line. Hill outside for Moran. Now over to Neuenheisen. Neuenheisen up top, drives the lane, puts it in, off the glass, and gets it to go. And a quick 2 points, 19-8 now the score. Quick three for Lawrenceville, a little bit short, rebounded by Nare McCoy. And taken the other way for Peddie. So, just like that, a pretty good start for the Falcons.
Yeah, I think that was a little rush shot attempt by Klotz, and that leads to an offensive set here on the other side of the floor by Peddie. Great move earlier in that last possession by Neuenheisen, getting to the lane and creating some space and finishing off the glass.
Skerritt to Hill, layup good. And now it's just a 9-point lead for Lawrenceville, as Peddie finally into the double digits in scoring.
Took Peddie a little bit to wake up, Joe, but it seemed like they are in it now.
Yeah, those quick 4 points that they got right at the end of the first quarter, and they've been able to carry that momentum. Long two for Chloe Jones, and she gets it to go. 21-10 Lawrenceville. And a whistle and a travel coming here on McCoy. Lawrenceville tried to trap her along the baseline. Along the sideline. She was passing to Hill, let the second foot slip, and so it will be Lawrenceville ball, inbound by Kufi. Kufi now, corner three chance, and it goes off the top of the backboard, and it'll be rebounded by Hill. 6.5 to play, just about, here in this second quarter.
And Lawrenceville's been firing those threes all game long. The problem with those, you have long three-point attempts, they get long rebounds, and usually ends up on the other end in transition.
Fernandez outside, gives it to Jones, another three attempt, and that one is no good. Now down low, back to Fernandez, and she gets the short-range basket to go. And so good second chance opportunity there for Lawrenceville, and they're able to convert on it. Their long inbound pass goes to Leah Moran, and she has it taken away by Fernandez. Fernandez now 2-on-1 for Lawrenceville. And a foul called as Kufi went up and was hit hard by a Peddie player.
And I'm really impressed by what I've seen out of Amani Fernandez so far today. I think she has about 4 steals already here in the first half, and she's been all over the place. Just a complete nuisance for this Peddie team, and being able to finish down low once again. So being able to add some points to the board as Kufi drains the first free throw. Being able to add some points on the board, but just being a complete stalwart on that defensive side.
Yeah, Kufi, class of 2017, a point guard out of New York City. Just about an hour and 20 minutes north of here. And she converts on the second free throw as well. So the lead back up to 15. That's as big as it's been all day for Lawrenceville. 25-10. The score, just under 6 minutes to play here in the second quarter. Full court press being employed by Lawrenceville. So on up-tempo offense now for Peddie. McCoy drives, lay-in off the glass, gets it to go.
There are lanes available here, Joe, so there are some openings here that Peddie needs to continue to take advantage of.
And just like you were saying, they're getting a lot of high chance opportunities. They weren't falling in the first, but they certainly are here in the second for Peddie, as they've already matched their point output for the first quarter, as that one's stolen away by Fernandez yet again. What a catalyst she's been. Klotz outside, 2. It's good.
That's the second really long 2 by Klotz. I think Len Miller would prefer her to maybe take a half step back and convert those into threes.
Down low, Perryman goes up, and a whistle and a foul called. She'll head to the line once again. She's already 0 for 3 from the free throw line in this game.
Yeah, Perryman definitely needs to find her stroke from the free throw line because she is an aggressive player, so she will find herself there more often than not.
Yeah, she has not made a free throw all season long. And she misses the first. That's really an incredible statistic.
Yeah, well, she, averaging 7 points a game,
Yep.
4 rebounds per game, so she's definitely making her presence felt as the first one of the season drops for Perryman.
Yeah, she finally got that one to go, and that's got to be a weight off of her mind. Amani Fernandez controls for Lawrenceville.
You know what they
Goes
say,
up,
Joe?
no good.
After you make one free throw, you don't miss for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Well, you do get locked in. It's one of those things. Once you can get past the mental part of it, you can just get in that zone and just keep hitting them one after the other. Hill, 3, yes! 27-16 is Peddie not giving up, not laying down in this one. Starting to work their way back into it. And a nice steal by Perriman. She just stepped right in the passing lane. And then Lawrenceville takes it right back the other way. Layup attempt by Riley, no good. Good defense that time by Perryman. Another long pass tried, and it's taken away again by Lawrenceville. Justina Mitchell had the steal and a whistle. And a timeout coming up.
So Katja Perryman has done some absolutely great things on the defensive end and on the offensive end. I think she needs to just be a little bit more careful with the basketball. She seems to be a little bit wound up, but her athleticism, her ability to just to defend, she's got long arms, she's been altering shots, she's been blocking shots and getting rebounds. I mean, that's really just invaluable. She just needs to take care of the ball a little bit better.
Yeah, you saw there just literally one outlet pass right after the other, just given right over to Lawrenceville, and that's just some unfortunate things, but obviously with time, that'll be something that gets worked on, and hopefully that those mistakes won't be repeated.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I'm sure that Coach Kreider is harping on that now in the timeout.
Yeah, you could see as soon as Coach Kreider called the timeout, she went over to Perryman almost to say, come on, what are you doing? You got to be a little bit more careful with the ball here.
Yeah, I think she needs to just relax a little bit more. I think she's maybe a little bit too overzealous when she's creating these turnovers. You got to take care of it. You know what would happen when I would play, Joe, is that I would sprint down the court on a fast break. I would try to I would try like a little finger roll off the backboard, and it would go all the way back to half court because I'd just be going so fast, would have zero control. And yeah, I was about 0 for 87 on fast break layup opportunities.
Well, at least it wouldn't be worse than what I would do, and I would just lay it up over the backboard completely because I was terrible.
Have you ever scored on your own basket?
No.
No,
but that was because I never shot.
Okay. Oh,
My
man.
career high was about 4 points.
I actually did that once when I was in 4th grade. I was playing in a league where we had to wear knee pads. It was a requirement.
And that's why they call them the good old
I
days.
don't see too many knee pads nowadays. Not the cool thing to do, but very safe.
Yeah, I think one time I scraped my knee a little bit, and so I wore my mom's old volleyball knee pads to a game.
That is resourceful.
I still get made fun of for that one. Hill with the ball. She gives it up to Moran. Corner 3, a little bit short that time, and taken away by Lawrenceville, and a whistle and a foul coming up here. I believe they're going to get Nare McCoy for that one.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that. McCoy was just fighting for the ball, and she kind of just rolled up on Klotz, so kind of a ticky-tack foul there as Lawrenceville will take over under their own basket.
And so it'll be Megan Riley carrying it into the front court for Lawrenceville. Senior out of Norwood, New Jersey, up north. She's got it on the outside. Gives up top to Klotz. Klotz outside. Kufi, 3-ball. Little bit short, missed off the front of the iron, and rebounded by Perryman. Perryman gives to Hill. She brings it up, guarded by Kufi. Trying to control the tempo now. Give to Moran. Moran tried for an in and had it taken away. Riley's got it, gives up to Kufi. Back to Riley. Big cheers coming from the JV game. You might be picking those up on our mics, happening just over to our left. 3 ball for Kofi. A little bit short yet again. Perryman grabs another rebound.
Perryman all over the glass once again.
Kate Hill with the ball, trying to slow down the tempo. Gives to Nare McCoy. Over to Moran. Moran down low. Hill goes up off the glass. No good. And rebounded by Lawrenceville. Taking it the other way is Riley. Riley stops, gives down low to Hannah Zoll, who gets her first action of the day and puts it in off the glass. 29-16, 13-point lead with 2.5 left to play here in the first half.
You know, Lawrenceville's doing a great job of really getting it on their end as fast as possible after a rebound. Credit Megan Riley for that.
Leah Moran banks it in off the glass to once again get this one within single digits. 29-18 the score. Considering it was 19-6 at the end of the first. Pretty good job done by Peddie here in the second quarter. Layup attempt by Kofi, no good. Taken by Perryman again. That's her third rebound in the past, in the past minute and a half.
She was at the rim when she grabbed that. Her athleticism is pretty outstanding.
Yeah, she averages 3.4 rebounds per game. Hill drives, baseline jumper, knocks it down. The crowd's starting to get into this game as Peddie is just matching Lawrenceville. Bucket for bucket, it seems like. Starting to claw their way back into this one. Justina Mitchell drives the lane. And good defense that time by Nare McCoy as Mitchell dribbled it off her foot and out of bounds. It'll be Peddie ball. Checking back into the game is Michaela Neuenheisen. Will inbound the ball to her Team Ontario teammate, Kate Hill.
And Kate Hill's sister, Samantha Hill, is a freshman at Virginia Tech. She did a postgraduate year at Blair Academy last year.
Hill drives, now dishes outside. 3 ball. A little bit short. That time by Moran, but a whistle.
And it looks like they're going to get Perryman for some physicality underneath.
Yeah, off ball foul that time. 6th team foul for Peddie. And in case you were wondering, Lawrenceville has 7. In the corner, driving, Klotz has it go off of Neuenheisen's leg and out of bounds, so it'll stay Lawrenceville ball. Minute and 2 remain, 29-20 here in this second quarter of basketball. Game 1 of a doubleheader here on Strive. We'll have the boys game coming up right after this one, so you're going to want to stick around and see all the great action that we've got for you here today. Riley on the outside, gives down low. Klotz puts it up and gets it a go. 31-20 the score, 53 seconds remain.
Really good look there by Megan Riley. Found a wide open Klotz underneath. And Klotz able to finish.
Hill, turnaround, 10-footer, gets it a go. Just like we said, shots starting to fall for Peddie here in this second quarter. Megan Riley has it on the left wing, dribbles, now kicks it outside for Fernandez. Fernandez, long 2 for Klotz, no good. Rebound goes to Kate Hill, 15 seconds. Looks like Peddie will hold here for the last shot. Hill guarded by Fernandez, outside, 3. Angela Glazer can't hit, but a nice save off the rebound. Last second heave attempt by Leah Moran is no good. A little bit long, and so we will go into the half with the score 31-22. And Tom, like we said, at the end of the first quarter, this was 19-6 in favor of Lawrenceville. An absolute great job done by Peddie there in that second quarter to start to come back.
Yeah, Peddie is a tale of 2 quarters, really. The first quarter was dominated by Lawrenceville. Peddie came back in the second quarter and really just worked their way back. Kate Hill had a couple nice baskets. Neuenheisen really started it off with an excellent move underneath, but the defense and the rebounding from Nare McCoy and from Katja Perryman really helped Peddie get back into this game. It is an 11-point lead, and you have to credit Lawrenceville for their ability to really get the ball on the other end quickly to be able to steal the basketball and take advantage of turnovers. Amani Fernandez has done an outstanding job, and Lawrenceville's really played well so far. So I know that Peddie, maybe you give them the edge. If you're scoring it like a boxing match, you would give the first round to Lawrenceville. I would give the second round maybe to Peddie. It would be a tough decision. but Lawrenceville doing a really good job. Peddie trying to get back into it.
Yeah, in that second quarter, Peddie outscored Lawrenceville 16-12, so they were able to narrow the gap by 4 points. But like we said, going into the half, still a 9-point game, 31-22, as you see down along the bottom of your screen. And we're going to take a short break here at halftime, and we'll be back with the second half of action right after this.
One of the things that I think is unique about Peddie is that it's a school that is large enough so it's hard for a student to outgrow Peddie, but it's small enough that it's hard to fall through the cracks. We have the facilities, the curricular programs, the extracurricular programs that people might tend to associate with a much larger school. And Peddie, at the same time, is small enough to have a close-knit community, close relationships between students and faculty members, and so I think in some ways Peddie has the best of both worlds in that regard.
Peddie's an open place in a number of respects, and one of them is that the people who are here, I think, are not very concerned about a lot of external stuff. So there's not a particular sort of stamped Peddie kid that looks like this or that steps out of that catalog.
Our kids come from so many different backgrounds, so many different countries, and they really get along. Peddie kids are here to learn from each other. The kids really like each other for being who they are, which makes it a very safe place, and I think when you feel safe, then it's easy to step outside your boundaries and to try new things.
Peddie has really given me those opportunities to explore new avenues, but all within the context of who I originally was and who I'm growing to become, whether that be through golf or through signing up for elective courses or doing musical theater, which I never thought about in middle school. Peddie really gives students the power to shape their experience here.
Peddie's definitely a special place. The kids definitely take ownership of the campus. It's a culture that's passed down from the upperclassmen. You know, by the time they're seniors, they're thinking, we really love this place. And the underclassmen see that and they kind of mimic that behavior.
And welcome back. It is halftime of the girls' game here at Peddie as the Lawrenceville Big Red lead the Peddie Falcons 31-22. And what you see now is the JV basketball game. This is not the right scoring bug, so we're just going to go ahead and take that off. But giving you some bonus coverage here, some JV basketball. 28-25 is the score as Peddie leads, and this has been an outstanding game. We've been hearing nothing but raucous cheers. But we're going to go over some of the scoring totals here for the girls' game. Megan Riley for Lawrenceville has 7. Janine Kufi has 2. Amani Fernandez, along with 5 steals, has 5 points. Jackie Klotz has 8 points, 2 of those coming from three-pointers. Hannah Zoll with 2, and Kennedy Guest-Pritchett has 6. And Kennedy didn't play most of the second quarter, Joe, because she got into some foul trouble, but she was one of the standouts early.
Yeah, she certainly was, and as we mentioned, 6-footer from Atlanta, Georgia, and only a junior, so she's going to be here at Lawrenceville and making a big impact for quite some time.
On the Peddie side, Leah Moran finished the first half with 2 points. Michaela Neuenheisen had 4. Katja Perryman had 3. Nare McCoy only 2 points. She's averaging just over 8 per game. And Kate Hill with 11 to start out this game in the first half. And Kate Hill really, as we said, we've been keep using this word catalyst. She is the engine of this Peddie offense and defense, and really started to get it going a little bit in the second quarter. Saw some frustration in the first quarter, but if she continues this trend, it's going to be a fortuitous game here for Peddie.
Yeah, and like you said, we've been seeing on both sides of the ball the contributions from Kate Hill. You mentioned she's got 11 points already. That's about how much she's been averaging for an entire game on this season, so she's really in the midst of outperforming even her usual high level of play.
And it's some pretty impressive basketball going on so far in this first half, and it's sure to be an exciting second half. As I said earlier, we are watching now some bonus coverage, the JV boys basketball game. As the third quarter comes to an end, Lawrenceville just took a 31-29 lead over Peddie, but it has been an exciting game over there. We're hearing some serious cheers. We're hearing some cheers come from the girls' game as well. And, Joe, I don't know if you noticed when you walk into the athletic center, you see a couple jerseys hanging from the rafters. And Peddie girls basketball has become synonymous. Peddie has become synonymous with high school girls basketball because of the tradition and because of the success that they've had here. Really just an incredible run in the 90s and the 2000s and some excellent players to boot. And some of the jerseys that you saw hanging up there were for All-Americans, Haley Peters and and Bridget Mitchell, who went to Duke, and Crystal Goring, who went on to play at Richmond. But here's a list of the 1,000-point scorers that Peddie has had and the schools that they went to, and it's pretty remarkable when you look at it. Christina Champion, who graduated in 2002, attended Richmond University. Haley Peters, who's pictured on the left, went to Duke. Bridget Mitchell went to Duke. She's now coaching at Wagner, I believe. She graduated in 2006. Jenna Graber graduated in 2002 and then she went on to play at LaSalle. Lauren, I always mess this up, Kokotajlo went to Mount St. Mary's after graduating in 1999. Crystal Goring from Richmond University went on to play at Richmond University as well. She graduated from Peddie in 2005. Tara Shingle graduated in 95, went on to play at Tufts, the NESCAC standout school. And Lexi Gerson graduated in 2009, went on to play at the University of Virginia. So this is an excellent program that has been successful for quite some time, and Sarah Kreider really not skipping a beat as she took over here.
Yeah, and from 1997 until 2011, Peddie won 14 straight NJSIAA Prep A championships. They won 12 straight MAPL championships from 99 to 2011. Of course, you listed all the members of the 1,000-point club that they have. Of course, this year, Nare McCoy already a member of that, although most of that not coming here at Peddie. Still a very talented player, but somebody that you might see join that that elite list might be Kate Hill, still
only a sophomore.
2016, exactly. And so a lot of time for her to play, and if she can keep up this level of play, perhaps even improve a little bit, you might see her jersey hanging up here in just a few years.
And just to let everybody know, there is a musical going on here, a winter musical here at the Peddie School. It is 9 to 5. And sometimes if you catch Joe alone in the parking lot, he will be singing some of these numbers alone to himself, as he is the owner of the soundtrack, as am I. And it will be taking place February 13th through the 15th at 7:30 p.m. right here on the Peddie School campus. Tickets are $10. You can call 609-944-7550, or you can email arts@peddie.org. So that is 9 to 5, the musical, happening in the middle of February, and we are just about set to go here as the girls take the court for the second half of action. Lawrenceville leading 31-22, and we're going to give it back over to our play-by-play host for the third quarter, Joe Vasile.
Thank you very much, and all jokes aside, I do have that soundtrack. And so Lawrenceville will start with the ball. It'll be Megan Riley as they work right to left across your computer screen. Shot no good. Rebound by Lawrenceville. Nice second chance opportunity there. Good effort by Kennedy Guest-Pritchett. Back in the game now in the second half. Scrum for a loose ball, and it goes out of bounds. Last touch by Lawrenceville, and so it'll be Peddie ball. Despite the rebounding effort by Lawrenceville that was made, good defense being played by Peddie. Here early, inbounds pass, taken away by Lawrenceville. Shot for Amani Fernandez, and she gets it to go. Fernandez, certainly not the biggest player on the court by any stretch of the imagination, only 5'2" out of Corona, New York. And Kate Hill controls now for Peddie. A little bit behind the elbow, gives down low to Perryman, who lays it up and good. And so another good start here for Peddie in this third quarter. Almost very similar to how they started the second quarter. Defensive stop and get an easy basket on their end.
Yeah, there you go. Another bucket for Perryman. That brings her to 5 on the game.
3 attempt for Riley, no good. Rebound goes to Lawrenceville. Shot by Fernandez, no good. And then that one is taken away by Neuenhuizen. Brought up into the front court by Hill. Pass for Neuenhuizen, taken away. Here comes Fernandez the other way. Dishes to Kufi. Lays it up, no good. Rebound by McCoy. McCoy, long inbound pass, outlet pass rather, to Perryman, and gets it to go from about 15 feet. 33-26. The score here with about 6.5 left in this third quarter of basketball. Game 1 of our doubleheader here today. On the outside, it's Joelle Floyd. And it's taken away by Perryman. Perryman drives, goes coast to coast, and has it rim out. Oh, that's a tough break for Perryman. Rebound grab by Lawrenceville, and a whistle and a foul coming here. I believe they're going to get Neuenhuizen. Making a little too much contact.
We saw a lot. I think a lot of the reason why we saw Peddie really dominate the boards in the second quarter is because we didn't see Kennedy in there. We didn't see Kennedy Guest-Pritchett in there for the majority of the second quarter because she was in foul trouble. And now she's back in the game, and she's back into her dominant form for Lawrenceville.
Kofi's got it. Now swings it up top for Fernandez. Fernandez drives, kicks it to the outside. Long two-point attempt by Jacqueline Klotz is good. And so 35-26. Lead back to 9 for Lawrenceville Prep. Down low, McCoy puts it up from the block. No good. Rebound Neuenhuizen. I think Klotz might have gotten a piece of that one.
I think so. Klotz really doing a great job on the offensive end for Lawrenceville. Really just a lethal shot, and she's going to keep shooting as long as she has some kind of space.
Hill lofts the pass for Neuenhuizen in the paint. Goes up, no good. Rebound goes to Lawrenceville. And taking it the other way is Megan Riley. She's got it up top. Handoff pass for Klotz. Klotz with a 3, a little bit short off the front of the rim, and taken by Perryman. Perryman will give it to Hill. Will take it up. Lawrenceville wearing their, Peddie wearing their home whites with blue numbering and a blue stripe down the side. Hill down low from the block, no good. Give to Riley, going quickly the other way. Peddie's got numbers though, so they can slow it down a little bit. Layup attempt by Riley, no good. And a whistle here on the rebound attempt. They're going to get, I believe, Riley for making the contact. And it'll be Peddie ball. They'll inbound it under their own basket.
Really good job by Katja Perryman to get back underneath.
And a timeout taken by Lawrenceville, sorry.
That's okay, but it's a really good job. Megan Riley was off to the races on the fast break opportunity. And good job getting back on defense by Peddie. It's a 9-point game. You've seen Jackie Klotz with an excellent stroke here. She's really kind of heating up for Lawrenceville, but Peddie doing a great job sticking in it. I mean, this is a game, like you said, the lead was at 1 point 15, back to 9 now, so manageable for Peddie. And they just need to, there are a couple opportunities at the rim where they just couldn't finish, and those need to go down for them to get back into this game and erase this deficit.
And they've certainly started to go back down, as in the attempts are starting to go down just a little bit. Here in the second quarter and the third quarter, much more so than they were in the first.
Yeah, and I think Neuenhuizen is really starting to get comfortable underneath against I think you would say a more physical player in Guest-Pritchett. But Peddie continues to pound the boards, whether it's McCoy, Neuenhuizen, or Perryman.
Full court press here for Lawrenceville. Hill's able to dribble around it and get it into the front court.
You don't see that's a rather unorthodox approach, but Kate Hill, a rather unorthodox player in that she is very, very skilled for her position.
Hill tried to pass it into the block for Nare McCoy, bounced off a Lawrenceville player, went out of bounds, and so Peddie overtained possession underneath their own basket. Hill will inbound this one and gets it to McCoy. They're going to get her for a travel, and that's the second time that they've gotten Nare McCoy for a travel in this game.
Yeah, she backed up and took a step, and they got her on it.
Yeah, it's one of those things you can't quite do. 4:24 remaining here in this third quarter of basketball. 3-ball, Kufi, little short. She was a couple of steps behind the three-point line. Maybe take a step in, and she's got that one. Pass into the lane, scrub for the loose ball, and it appears to be taken by Neuenhuizen. And Peddie was able to get a timeout in before the jump ball would have been called. And so it'll be Peddie ball on the other side of this timeout.
Yeah, it'll be a 30-second timeout. It's good awareness by Peddie to get that timeout before they went to a jump ball. And then the possession arrow, I believe, would have favored Lawrenceville. So nice opportune timeout calls. We take a look here at to our left, the JV game, 35-32 with 3 minutes to go in favor of Peddie. And so far, it just seems like Peddie just keeps climbing uphill in this game that we are covering right here. And Lawrenceville doing a good job keeping them at bay.
Well, what do you think Peddie has to do now to try and get past Lawrenceville? Because it seems like Lawrenceville at halftime made some adjustments to slow down the Peddie offense that picked up some steam in the second.
Yeah, I really think Peddie needs to find a way to create some turnovers. I think momentum is going to be a huge factor in this. If they can create turnovers and execute, take advantage of those turnovers, score on the offensive end, create some opportunities for some transition baskets, that's a way that you really take the heart out of your opponent. But Lawrenceville's doing a great job of defending against just that.
Lawrenceville, if you didn't quite catch it earlier, came into this game with a 5-3 record on the season. Peddie 9-1. So a bit of an upset brewing here at the Peddie School. 3, Klotz gets it to go. Jacqueline Klotz with a big 3-ball.
And that'll put Lawrenceville up 12, and Peddie's got to find an answer for Jackie Klotz. They also have to find an answer for this full court press, still giving them some issues here in the third quarter.
And it seems to really be throwing off their timing. The whistle that time was a foul on Lawrenceville. Their second of this half. Peddie has just one. 3:50 remain here in this quarter. Kate Hill trying to get past the press. She's having a difficult time. Gives to Neuenhuizen. They finally get it across half court, and it's taken away by Klotz. To Fernandez, down low, drives, no good. Little bit weak on that attempt, and taken by Peddie. And Lawrenceville will just drop back and not play a press, allowing Hill to get the ball over the midcourt stripe.
Yeah, it's becoming like a sigh of relief when they get it past half court now, but they can really start to run some of their offense.
Down low.
Feed it down low.
Perryman can't get it to go. And taken back the other way by Lawrenceville. Riley gives to Hannah Zoll down low. Outside, Klotz, little strong on a 3. Taken away by Perryman. Pushing the tempo now, Peddie. Hill, 2-on-1, goes up with the layup attempt, no good. Taken away by Lawrenceville. Now they're looking to push the tempo. Fernandez, long jump shot. Gets it to go for 2. And it's 40-26, a 14-point lead for Lawrenceville. And Perryman will take it for the Falcons. Gives to Neuenhuizen, and she just dribbled it off her own leg and taken away by Lawrenceville. Boy, and just a couple of turnovers, some costly ones here for Peddie, has allowed Lawrenceville to build their lead back up to 14 points. Looking to add to that here on this trip down the court. 2:20 remaining here in this third quarter.
This is where Peddie really needs to put the clamps on defensively. No easy buckets for Lawrenceville, no easy looks at least for Lawrenceville as Lawrenceville begins to build their lead here.
16 points, the biggest it's been all day. Peddie at one point had cut the lead down to 7 points in the second quarter, but Lawrenceville's been able to pull it away. And a pass from McCoy and a whistle. A foul coming up. third team foul on Lawrenceville here in this third quarter.
You got Leah Moran checking into the game for Nare Cook for Peddie. So Moran looking to add some offensive spark for the Falcons.
I haven't seen a lot of Moran here in this third. He's taking a lot of shots in the second. Hill on the outside, gives down low. Neuenhuizen goes up, no good. Perryman with the rebound, she goes up and is fouled. So she'll head to the line once again. 1 of 5 from the free throw line today.
But Perryman just, her positioning on the court is outstanding. She's really in the right place at the right time, really putting herself in perfect position to get these rebounds, and her athleticism really just takes over. Once she's in that position and she's getting all these opportunities going to the line, she works on her free throws a little bit more. She could become a, like a double a night type player.
And she hits the first. Perryman, a junior out of Poughkeepsie, New York. It's always one of my favorite towns to say.
Have you ever been there?
I can't say I have.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
But definitely my favorite spelling for a city that I've seen.
Misses the second. And so 42-27, a 15-point lead once again for Lawrenceville. Perryman now just 2 of 7 from the free throw line today. But I guess the good news is that she's getting to the free throw line a lot.
Absolutely.
Riley controls right at the circle. Now gives to Fernandez, now back to Riley. Gets past a defender. Just going to dribble in a giant circle here and get to the other side and trap herself by the half-court line. Good defense being played by Peddie here in their zone formation. Pass tipped by Perryman, and it's going to go out of bounds. Last touch by Perryman. So with about a minute to go, Lawrenceville will be inbounding it from underneath their own basket. It's going to be Kufi acting as the trigger. She looks to get it in deep, and it's taken away by Kate Hill. Hill controls, takes it across. Dribbles around, drives to the lane, open layup attempt, and gets it a go.
And you know what, Joe? I think that's really what needs to happen here. I think Kate Hill needs to just take, I know she's only a sophomore, but you know that she has the capability of taking over a basketball game. I really just think she needs to take the ball and just go to work to get back into this game.
On the outside, it's Riley. She'll hand off to Amani Fernandez. Fernandez guarded by Mackenzie Skerritt, excuse me. I messed up my M names. Fernandez still with it, guarded tightly. Now tries to drive, had a bit of a lane, but 3 Peddie defenders right in her face. She gives it up, shot for Lawrenceville, no good. And a whistle, and I believe they're gonna say that Leah Moran had the ball and her foot was on the line, and so it'll be Peddie ball. 13.8 seconds left in this third quarter. Lawrenceville trying to get a shot off.
Once again, outstanding defense by Perryman down low here. Some great help defense and then altering the shot, and now a rebound for the junior.
And Fernandez was a little bit short on the 3. Hill with 2 seconds puts up a 3 and no good. And so at the end of 3 quarters, the score 42 for Lawrenceville, 29 for Peddie. And boy, that was not exactly a replay of the first quarter, but it was a little bit similar with Lawrenceville having all the momentum in that third quarter.
I think so. I think what we saw in the first quarter was a dominant performance by Lawrenceville. What we saw in the second quarter was a performance that favored Peddie, and then I think it went back in Lawrenceville's favor here in the third quarter. But Peddie, I mean, they still have signs where you still cannot count them out of a game. We saw what the JV team did earlier, coming back from a huge deficit, tying the game at the end of regulation and sending it into overtime. So we take a look here at the JV boys game, the score 41-36 over on court number 2. You just can't. Peddie 9-1 on the season with all the talent they have and the offensive firepower from Cade Hill and from Nari McCoy. You can't count them out of any game. If they can take advantage of some turnovers, they can create some turnovers, take advantage of it. If they can get it going from behind the arc, that's the one thing that we haven't seen today. Cade Hill hit a couple threes, but other than that, we haven't seen some long-distance shooting as Jackie Klotz has been on fire for Lawrenceville.
And if there's one thing that you look at this game so far for Peddie, and obviously looking at the scoreboard, 13-point deficit going into the fourth, not exactly what you want to see, but they haven't been giving up. They've been trying to get their way back in and having mixed results with that.
Hill down low to McCoy. McCoy backs down underneath, and a nice play by Megan Riley to draw the charge. So that'll be another foul on McCoy, as she was getting a little bit too physical. Megan Riley with the wherewithal to take that charge, plant her feet, and draw the foul against the post grab from Peddie. Fernandez, great look underneath. Guess Pritchett will finish.
And Guess Pritchett did a lot more scoring in that first quarter than she did in the third. Of course, she had a lot of foul trouble as well, but making her presence felt certainly on the defensive side of the ball.
Kate Hill underneath, an excellent cut, unable to finish. Scarrett with the follow-up, unable to finish as well. Guess Pritchett gets the rebound, and it'll be Lawrenceville ball once again. Lawrenceville taking their time as they come down the court, using the clock to their advantage. In the corner for three, it's no good, and the rebound goes, still being fought for, and they're going to call a jump ball. Tangled up for Mackenzie Scarrett and Kennedy Guess Pritchett, and the possession arrow favors the Big Red, so Lawrenceville will maintain possession.
And like you said, right now for Lawrenceville, the clock is their best friend, and they just have to milk it as much as they possibly can.
Riley for three, no good. They're going to call a foul underneath, and that will be on Katya Perryman, getting a little bit too physical. The score goes to 42-39 in the JV basketball game, the JV boys game, in favor of the Peddie Falcons. 39 seconds to go. Megan Riley finds Fernandez. Fernandez with some dull-colored shoes. And this one will go out of bounds, but it will stay in the hands of Lawrenceville.
Yeah, I'd call those neon yellow or maybe even highlighter yellow shoes that Fernandez has on.
Wait till you see every color of the rainbow from the footwear of the boys team. That's exciting.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
Fernandez being doubled at the top of the key, just gets rid of it under 5 seconds. Riley guarded by Hill. Lawrenceville's going to swing it around to Koofy, looking down low. Perryman trying to get her hand in there. Fernandez keeps it alive for Lawrenceville. Great ball movement out of the Big Red. Back to Riley at the top of the key. Hill's going to give her some pressure. Fernandez takes it to the hole, and this one blocked by McCoy. Great defensive play, and it'll be Peddie basketball. Nare McCoy getting her whole palm on the basketball. 5 minutes and 58 seconds to go here in the game. Hill going to bring it up slowly for the Falcons. Picks up her dribble a little bit early, and this creates some confusion as Megan Riley will now pick it up for Lawrenceville. Kate Hill picking up her dribble. Was expecting McCoy on the outside. McCoy had already gone. They're going to call a foul, and it'll be on the floor. So Lawrenceville will inbound it. The owners of a 15-point lead. This is their largest lead of the game. Ties the lead that they acquired in the first quarter. Cook guarding Fernandez. Fernandez all the way to the rack. Good help defense by Perryman. And now McCoy on the other end for the Falcons. Perryman spots up, drains it. Katya Perryman.
And that is
the 10-footer.
That is the first points of the quarter for Peddie. Now over 3 minutes into this fourth quarter, excuse me.
Lead cut down to 13. Moran now on Koofy. Chloe Jones in the game for Lawrenceville. Hands it back off to Riley. Riley Works off a pick from Guess Pritchett. Puts this one high off the glass and in. Good pick and roll execution by the Lawrenceville Big Red. As Kate Hill takes it the other way for Peddie. And McCoy kind of got caught up there in deciding what she wanted to do. Fernandez the other way for the Big Red. Chloe Jones is going to slow it up for Lawrenceville. So Riley will now welcome the tight defense from Kate Hill at the top of the key. Peddie now needing some urgency on the defensive end to try to get the ball back. Lawrenceville doing a good job of playing keep away. Peddie bench getting into it as well, trying to pick up the energy. Good defense, but they're going to call a foul on the shot. It looks like it is going to be on Perryman once again, and Guess Pritchett will head to the free throw line.
Yeah, and here in high school, obviously with no shot clock, you can just afford to bring it up and take as much time off the clock as Lawrenceville wants to here. Looks like we're going to get a timeout.
And we have another overtime JV game, 43-43. It's heading into overtime as the varsity players begin to enter the field house here. We see some of the football guys for the Big Red, Grant Newsom, Luca Puzzi, Grant Keller just supporting them. Set to take on the likes of George Langberg, Brian Rivers, Nate Hickman, Everson Davis, Isaiah Seatram. All kinds of talent.
Smile, you're on TV.
On this Peddie squad. Oh, how we doing? Did not realize that was going on. Thanks to our cameraman, Alex Deutsch.
I was going to say, why don't you get yourself on there, Alex?
There we go. Alex, cat's away, the mice will play with that camera. Guess Pritchett will attempt 2 free throws here for the Big Red.
Though I do have to say that was a flattering angle.
Oh, thanks, Joe.
Yeah.
Appreciate the kind words. First free throw is no good. It's under 4 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter. And Guess Pritchett will sink the second free throw as Kate Hill brings it the other way for the Falcons. Neuenheisen faces her opponent up. Back to Kate Hill. Step back three, no good. Perryman battling for a rebound underneath, unable to come up with it. And Megan Riley will control it for the Big Red. So some of the positives that we're taking from this game, I'm really, really impressed with Katja Perryman's ability to grab rebounds and play some defense. Really impressed with Kate Hill's ability to create shots for herself and her teammates. As we were impressed before, we saw Peddie play once before this season, and obviously continue to be impressed. Really, really, really impressed by that run that they had in the second quarter. I feel like if they can bottle that effort and take that in every single quarter, it'd be a really, really tough team to deal with. As Kate Hill starts a run of play for the Falcons. Cuts inside, but nothing there. Good defense by Fernandez.
Yeah, and like you said, been very impressed with Katja Perryman and really the physicality that she shows out there on the court. She does an excellent job both on the glass and down low, drawing fouls and getting herself to the free throw line.
Yeah, I think a lot of upside, especially for the future. And there we go. There's Perryman once again, but this one rims out, and it'll be rebounded by Klotz. And they'll call another foul on Nare McCoy. So Lawrenceville will take it from out of bounds as Mackenzie Scarrett will enter the game for the Falcons. Peddie not getting discouraged. They're going to put on a full court press here, try to get the ball back, try to get some sort of energy back into their offense.
Yeah, almost borrowing a page out of Lawrenceville's book with this full court press that really threw Peddie out of balance there in that third quarter.
Klotz from long range, no good. Scarrett with the rebound. Mackenzie Scarrett's done an excellent job hustling after loose balls. I think that's the third one that she has come up with today. She begins to set a pick for Cade Hill. Moran now has it at the top of the key, being guarded by Chloe Jones. Neuenheisen from the top of the key, it's no good. And good job boxing out by Megan Riley.
You know, this is one of those games for Peddie. Obviously, you're playing against another team, and you just got to tip your hat kind of to your opponent in this one. They came up with a good game plan. They executed it well, and when Peddie started to come back, they made good adjustments and were able to come back. I mean, this is a game, obviously, between two very talented teams. Could have gone either way. Unfortunately, today was just not Peddie's day.
And Cade Hill goes coast to coast, absorbs a little bit of contact and puts it off the glass. But, Joe, you're right. It has been a great effort here by Lawrenceville. Don't want to take anything away from them. Saw a nice block down here by Perryman and a great finish on the other end by Cade Hill. And we have seen some flashes from this sophomore that are very, very exciting for the future. Just imagine 2 more years playing over the summer, getting used to this style of basketball, this level of play here in the States. And you know, a lot of bright, very, very bright future ahead for the sophomore point guard.
Yeah, and I mean, already for her game to be kind of, not, I don't want to say as polished as it is right now, because it is still very raw, but to be as far along as it is right now, as only a sophomore in high school, you know that, if it keeps progressing at a quote-unquote normal rate, really special things in the future for Cade Hill.
I think Coach Kreider loves to talk about her leadership as a sophomore, says that she really has nailed the balance between being a leader and being a friend, not the balance between being a leader, I'm sorry, the balance between being a friend and knowing when to get on her teammates, and has really, really just done a great job in practice as people turn to her when the going gets tough during practice, and she's usually an example for people to lead at, for people to follow.
And that's just about as important as any on-court contribution that she can give.
Kofi to the baseline. Peddie's starting to go after it, and they're going to call a jump ball once again as Perryman locks up with Jess Pritchett underneath. Lawrenceville will take it from out of bounds. Riley, top of the key. Got about 20 seconds to go here. Lawrenceville with a 14-point lead as Riley takes it all the way to the hoop and in. At about 10 seconds left. Hill will find Skerritt in the corner. Skerritt for 3, it's no good. And rebound by Moran, and Moran will put it off the glass and in for the Falcons. And that'll do it as Lawrenceville will take the first match of today's doubleheader. And Joe, good effort on both sides, but today just Lawrenceville's day. I mean, there were some opportunities for Peddie that normally they finish. They finish on, and it just didn't happen today. Good game plan by Lawrenceville, great defense by Lawrenceville. I think what it was that really kind of stopped Peddie's potential of getting back into this game was that full court press that they implemented for the entire game and really executed really well.
Yeah, they certainly were able to throw off the rhythm that Peddie was starting to build there in that second quarter a little bit by, by going to that full court press and just being able to force some turnovers and get Peddie almost worked up a little bit and a little bit more of a frenzy than they had to be. There was plenty of basketball left to play, but they were rushing up and down the court like there was, only a couple of minutes left, and that threw them out of their kind of groove, I guess, and allowed Lawrenceville to stretch their lead back out into the mid-double digits, and that's pretty much where it stayed for the rest of the game.
Yeah, I think that second quarter is what Peddie can look at and really take a lot of positives from. They went on a great run there. They they decreased the deficit from 15 to 9, and you saw Cade Hill go on a run. We saw Neuenheisen with a couple nice baskets, and we saw some great play underneath. And obviously, I think that the biggest bright spot of today's game, I have to say, was Katja Perryman and her effort on the defensive end. I know she struggled from the free throw line and had a couple turnovers, but her effort level and her ability to defend and get rebounds, I think, is a huge, huge plus for this Peddie team.
Yeah, and Perryman, another player who's not a senior, going to be around for a little bit while longer. You want to see a little bit of development. Of course, not only did she bring the energy, but she also had a couple of turnovers and was a little bit loose with the ball. And so those are things that you want to see her improve. Obviously, you want to see her improve her free throw shooting, just 2 of 7 from the line. But the fact that she's getting to the line that many times is a good sign.
Yeah, absolutely. So Peddie falls to 9-2 on the season as they continue their MAPL and Prep A play, but I'm sure we're going to see them deep into the tournaments as February comes. So we are now covering bonus coverage here. It is a JV boys basketball game. The Peddie Falcons trail the Lawrenceville Big Red 50-49. We have 17 seconds to go. This is overtime as an enormous crowd has congregated to watch this game on court number 2. We don't have rosters available, so we're going to do as good of a job as we possibly can to introduce you to some of these players. As the first free throw is no good. So Peddie still leading by 1. And there will be a timeout on the floor. So coming up later, I don't know if you can see, but beyond court number 2 into court number 3, the boys varsity basketball team for Peddie is warming up. This team just took down national, not only state, but national powerhouse St. Benedict's Prep Gray Bees this week. I believe the score was 67-62. It was an outstanding game. Peddie can really, really score. A couple weeks ago, they played Pennington, and they put up 95 points, I believe.
Wow. And
just unheard of score for high school basketball. You have 32 minutes to play, and to be able to put the ball in the basket that many times is really outstanding. But you have a couple 1,000-point scorers on that team. Nate Hickman, Everson Davis, and Brian Rivers. All 1,000-point scorers are in their first years here at Peddie and really doing an outstanding job. It's a 4-guard lineup for Coach Joe Rulowich, but it has been really, really beneficial for him all season long as Lawrenceville ties it Lawrenceville had the lead, so now they're up 2. So Peddie comes back down the court, trailing by 2. 3-point attempt. 4 went. Rebound underneath, no good. Rebound goes to Lawrenceville. And they're going to call a foul on Peddie with 3 seconds to go. So it looks like Lawrenceville will take this one. So a 3-point opportunity, passed up. And then
which is the right play there. I mean,
I think so.
A lot of people say at home you play for the win. I rather take it a little bit safer. At least tie it, send it into a double overtime potentially.
Yeah, it was a pretty good look, just unable to come up with the rebound underneath as now Lawrenceville takes a 3-point lead, 3 seconds left. They can seal it here as timeout is going to be taken by Peddie. So with a made free throw, Lawrenceville can seal it. And if this boys game, and I really have a good feeling about this game, Joe. I feel like if this boys game continues the trend from the 2 JV games, we're going to have an extremely exciting basketball game here for us in game 2 of our doubleheader. So Lawrenceville's a team that took Blair all the way to the end, 73-70. They took the loss, but they were winning by 6 with 4 minutes left to go in the game. And Blair was able to come out on top. And we saw earlier this season, when Blair played Peddie, we saw how strong of a team Blair is. But St. Benedict's is also an extremely strong team. And Peddie defeated them and was in control that entire game. This Peddie team is loaded with talent. They have a 3-point shooting sensation who we'll get to in a little bit, George Langborg, who's going to American University. They have a ton of college-level talent on the court as Lawrenceville sinks this free throw to go up 2 possessions, and they're going to make the steal, and this one will be over as Lawrenceville's JV team takes this one. So in both overtime JV games, Lawrenceville will take it. We will be back in about 11 minutes here. We're going to show you a video here commemorating the 150th anniversary here at Peddie. So enjoy, and we'll come back with a pregame show right after this.
The Peddie experience is an experience for a lifetime.
I really don't think I would be where I am in my life if it hadn't been for Peddie.
My time at Peddie really shaped who I became, and I'm so proud to have been part of this community.
The thing that particularly stands out in my mind about this school is how wonderful the faculty was.
It was the best decision that my 13-year-old self could have made and the best decision that my parents could have supported.
I really didn't have much of a choice. My father said, "You're going."
I was here when it was all boys school, and it was almost like a boot camp.
Well, it's the 70s, so it's a little bit different than it is now.
We have a lot of stories, but we can't talk about them.
Everyone here plays a role in shaping you during those formative years.
You know, it gave you the backbone to build your life on.
It has stayed with me, and it was when I keep saying to anyone that'll listen, it was the best year of my life.
Peddie was founded in 1864, just about the time a lot of other leading boarding schools were founded. I mean, there were 5 schools that were founded in Hightstown. 5. 1 survived. We survived and flourished through tough times because there were enough strong hearts to say, we are working for something beyond academic success, beyond athletic prowess, beyond winning records. We're working for a state of character and a nobility of pursuit, and that's very central to this place.
It was founded as the Hightstown Female Seminary. It quickly changed and then it became coeducational. But it was also a time when a lot of religious affiliations were founding schools. And that's something that perhaps kids now don't quite understand, the affiliation of the Baptist Church in a school like Peddie. But it was very, very important in the late 1800s, really all through about 1950, 1960.
Thomas Peddie saved Peddie from bankruptcy.
He was a Scottish immigrant. He went on to become a leather merchant in Newark, New Jersey, which is not so far away. He manufactured suitcases and leather goods during the Civil War, and he was a Baptist. And he was someone who wanted to make sure that the Baptist Church had a prominent role in New Jersey, that the school had a prominent role, and therefore he felt it was worthy of his support.
When the school was having trouble in the early 1870s, then known as the New Jersey Classical and Scientific Institute, he donated $25,000, and whoever gave the first $25,000 could name the school. So it became the Peddie Institute. Once it got established, at the 25th anniversary in 1889, started working on an even course, and much of that was guided by Headmaster Roger Swetland, who was the headmaster from 1898 to 1934.
Dr. Swetland had a very grand ambition for the school. He got it through the Depression at a time when it was inconceivable that people even had money to send their children to boarding school.
What he also did is to develop a plan for campus with a big central green.
The geography of Peddie is a metaphor for the kind of school we are. It's level, it's not a school on a hill. I think that has translated for generations into a certain acceptance of everybody and then a pressure to really succeed once you get here. At Peddie, because we're really at an intersection of central New Jersey, I think we draw on a wider range of people, and I think that's always been a huge strength.
All I remember is the trains going right through downtown Hightstown. It was a big thing to walk downtown. And I remember Sundays everyone had to go to church, and you could pick wherever you wanted to go. And I picked the closest one.
We went to the movies a lot here. There was a movie theater downtown, and Saturday nights we would go down to the firehouse. There was a dance above the firehouse.
I happened to be in Peddie in the summer of '45 when the atom bomb was dropped. And when peace was declared, we all went to the Baptist church. It wasn't cheering and great joyfulness. It was kind of a solemn, respected way of celebrating the end of the war.
The environment at Peddie was fantastic, coming from Brooklyn, New York. It was a terrific contrast. Sports were here, the whole open facilities. It was wonderful.
We had some really outstanding teachers who I'll never forget. I can't remember a teacher at Brown, but I can remember 10 of them that I had at Peddie.
Academically, of course, this was a wonderful place, but to the best of my recollection, Peddie cost about $1,200 a year for everything, and I think it's slightly more expensive now.
Girls came to Peddie in the fall of '70, and half of them were in a production of Guys and Dolls. You know, the drama club was able to change completely.
Girls were back, and it was awesome. It was scary too, and I didn't know how to take all these preppies.
I think the girls who came were kind of pioneer kind of girls who wanted to take charge of things. So the girls actually had very dominant roles in student government, and we were all, you know, starting different sports teams. So from that standpoint, I actually enjoyed the fact that I could have that kind of pioneer role.
It was exposure to people who were going to go places and do things, and from different parts of the state and the country and the world. In my case, I actually married a girl that I met here.
I actually remember you saying that you were going to marry her. That's kind of weird. She's a freshman.
Back then, it was sort of the beginning of the computer industry, and I was involved in the computer labs. Then it was IBM punch card computers.
Back then in the 80s, there was this god-awful fluorescent lighting in the student center, and then we'd step out of the student center and we'd once again be in one of the most beautiful places on earth.
When I first came in 1981, we had virtually no endowment and a dicey future. And I would say 2 years after that, I think Mr. Annenberg gave what then seemed like an enormous gift. I think it was $12 million, which restored the school in a lot of ways, not the least of which was emotional.
Peddie has been the beneficiary of a number of caring and devoted alumni over many, many years now. Probably the two most prominent are Walter Annenberg and Finn Casperson.
Finn Casperson played a role that, financially generous as he was, his leadership kept the school going when other people thought, I'm not sure that's worth saving.
I believe that Peddie would not still exist if it were not for Finn Casperson.
The story of Walter Annenberg is in many ways the story of Peddie. Walter Annenberg had a great deal of class. I always think of Peddie as having a lot of class.
Walter Annenberg came here in the 1920s. He was a son of an immigrant to America who came with nothing and who succeeded. He went off to be very successful in business. He was an entrepreneur. He was an ambassador. He served under President Nixon. But he always remembered his school days and how much he owed to the faculty here.
Early on, the gift that he made while Ed Potter was headmaster literally saved the school, much in the same way that Peddie's gift had saved the school years earlier. What the gift, the big one, provided for Peddie was that it guaranteed that Peddie would always be a school, that it would become one of the immortals.
Of course, the famous $100 million gift from Mr. Annenberg was just incomprehensible. I still can't believe it.
There's no question in my mind what that gift meant. From the minute of the Annenberg gift, things on campus changed in classroom, on teams, in dormitories. There were enough students here who would say, this is the chance of my lifetime, and I am going to take it.
What makes Peddie unique is the chemistry in the classroom, the range of kids we get. That helps create a very dynamic, active, exciting classroom experience for the teachers and for the kids.
I think Peddie's different from other schools because of the people that actually work at Peddie. I noticed at Peddie that the teachers were a lot more open and they're a lot more communicative with their kids, the students. Everyone seemed to be having a lot more fun in classes, and it was just good to see that there's a relationship forming between students and teacher.
Peddie really gives students the power to shape their experience here and to explore what they're passionate about, but also they do it in a supportive community that students here push you to do your best, whether it be on the athletic field, be in the theater, be in the classroom. And that camaraderie and sense of encouragement and support, as well as using that to fuel each other's motivation and each other's competitive spirit, leads to a very potent combination of being able to accomplish a lot with your peers as well as accomplishing a lot individually.
I think over 20 years, we've certainly reached the goal that in 1993 we thought we would have. You want the academic program to be like the air you breathe, of course. That's why you're going to go to a school like this, because it's going to train your brain. But what you'll get at Peddie that is really distinctive to its mission is how to figure out which target to hit to make that greatest contribution to citizenship that Mr. Annenberg is always talking about.
I think Peddie ranks amongst some of the nation's most elite preparatory boarding schools, but not because it relishes in its elitism. Peddie has built itself upon generosity and upon altruism. So Peddie is unique in that it's not about name, it's about community.
What does the future hold for Peddie? Like its students, Peddie's future is whatever it wants it to be. But the challenge is we can do anything we want, we can't do everything we want, because our dreams have grown. The school had bigger dreams in 1964 than it had in 1924 or 1914 or 1874. But we haven't stepped away from that pride in contribution.
The 14-2 Peddie Falcons welcome in the 7-5 Lawrenceville Big Red. Both teams as hot as can be as the weather is cold outside. That is how hot both of these teams are. So we have a great matchup ahead of us, and it is right here next on Strive. And welcome back alongside Joe Vasile. I'm Tom Monfiletto. We are back for Game 2 of the Strive doubleheader here at the Peddie School. So we had a Lawrenceville victory in the first game in the girls' game, and the Peddie boys looking to make it an even 1-1 on the back end of the doubleheader. As we see Brian Rivers and his teammates warming up here. Peddie coming into the game at 14-2. Lawrenceville coming into the game at 7-5. Peddie just coming off an excellent game as they took down the perennial powerhouse St. Benedict's Prep. And Lawrenceville coming into the game, not coming off a win, but coming off an excellent game against the very powerful Blair Academy. So, Joe, I mean, I think both teams, a lot of momentum coming into this game. I'm really excited. It should be a really good one here tonight.
Yeah, it certainly should be. And to talk about that Peddie win over St. Benedict's, when I saw that Peddie won that game, that's something that really is an eye-opener. St. Benedict's, for those who don't know, is a perennial top 5 in the nation team. This is a school, you know, that has produced several NBA players in recent years, and they're always a highly talented, highly powered squad. And for Peddie to be able to come away with a victory, albeit by 5 points, you know, that really speaks to the amount of talent that is on this Falcon team this year.
And the one thing that this Falcon team can do is they can score. They can score and they can shoot. And arguably the best shooter on this team is the 6'3" three-point specialist, George Langberg. George Langberg is headed to American University next year against Blair. He had 6 three-pointers earlier in the season to lead all Peddie scores. He has 27 threes on the season. He had 20-plus threes last year, and this guy is lights out from behind the arc, Joe.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that you cannot allow to get open beyond the arc. And, you know, some people might say, well, maybe he doesn't do a whole lot outside of shoot the three. But when you shoot the three as well as George Langberg does, you don't really need to be doing a whole lot else.
You really don't, and you always can rely on them. Whenever they're in a bad spot, I remember when we did that Blair game, Peddie came back to within 7, within 5 a couple times, and a lot of it had to do with just the sniping ability of George Langberg from behind the arc. It's a security blanket. It's a way to extend a lead. It's a way to cut a deficit, and it really, really is an invaluable attribute to have, as George Langberg put in the work in the gym in the offseason, putting up as many shots as humanly possible, and getting back in here and reaping the benefits here on the Peddie basketball court. So an exciting senior season that he's having. Wishing him all the best, and I really don't think he needs any luck as he goes on to play at American. If he just continues this trend, continues his work ethic, and goes on to play at the next level. Really, really exciting player to watch, and we look forward to another good game here today. Lawrenceville coming into the game 7-5 on the season. They've had some lopsided losses. They've had some lopsided wins. They went into Blair Academy. They were up by 6 with 4 points to go last week. They came out on the losing side of that, but they got a 2-point performance from postgraduate Grant Lozoya. And this Lawrenceville team, year in and year out, they've got talent. I ran into Craig Moore this past weekend, who spent 4 years at Lawrenceville, played point guard at Northwestern, played a couple seasons overseas, and we were talking about some of the glory days that Lawrenceville had when they had Joakim Noah, David Whitehurst, who went to Penn. They had Kashif Sweet, who went on to play at Columbia. That team, just outstanding, and they have some Division I talent on their team as well. We talk about Grant Lozoya, Brandon Federici, another postgraduate, 6'4", from Morganville, New Jersey, and they have a lot of high hopes for him as well. I was able to talk to Coach Kane earlier in the week to get some ideas and some information, some talking points about the team. I asked him what his biggest strength was, and he kind of said, well, I think our biggest strength is Grant, and that's Grant Lozoya, who's been outstanding all season long.
Yeah, Grant Lozoya commit to Stetson University, so he'll be playing down in the, I believe that's the Sun Belt Conference, right, that produced Florida Gulf Coast last year.
It could be. I'm not positive on that. I don't think so. I think they might be in the same conference as Tampa, where Matt Johnson, who was a postgraduate at Lawrenceville last year, is now playing. But the Lawrenceville team loaded with talent. Once again, down low, they'll have Grant Newsom, the big 6'6" tackle, offensive tackle, who's an excellent football player, but he works, he grinds, he gets rebounds down low. And we're going to talk a little bit about some of the offensive threats that Peddie has, somebody that's been garnering a lot of interest from colleges. Last year, he was the Mercer County Player of the Year, and every time we've seen him play this year, he has raised eyebrows at the very least, and that's Brian Rivers coming in from West Windsor South. He's averaging 15 points a game, 6 assists per game, and 4 steals per game. I'm going to say that again. 15 points a game, 6 assists, and 4 steals. He's been outstanding. He's been really exciting to watch, and this is a guy, Joe, that can absolutely turn it on and take over an entire game if he wants to.
Yeah, and he is one of the 3 players on the Falcons this year coming in with over 1,000 career points. Rivers and Nate Hickman, Everson Davis, who I'm sure we'll talk plenty about as this game goes on, all came in over 1,000 career points. And like I said, you look at those numbers, and that is a guy who contributes on both sides. 4 steals a game are absolutely huge to be able to create those turnovers, and of course contributing offensively, like you said, the ability to just take over a game, averaging 15 points, and he's not afraid to pass the ball, 6 assists as well. And when you have a guy who's got an all-around game like that, it's nice to have your offense run through a player.
Absolutely, and his confidence level has been skyrocketing all season long, and you can see it just kind of exude off of him as he plays. He gets the ball in his hand, and he won't be denied until he or his teammate scores. He is a slasher through and through. He can get through any kind of creases in a defense, and he can get the ball to the rim. He is an excellent player and an excellent offensive threat that really can drive with some of the best that I've seen. So Brian Rivers, look for him to have a huge game today. Rivers coming into this season along with Nate Hickman and Everson Davis, the 3 newcomers to this Peddie team, 3 of the 4 starting guards, I think you can call them, in this starting lineup. Nate Hickman from Delaware went to Wilmington Christian School. He comes into the season already garnering 1,000 points in his high school career, but that's somebody that can really get the momentum shifted towards Peddie's way. He can take over a game as well. So you have Brian Rivers, you have Nate Hickman, you have Everson Davis, all elite scorers. George Langberg that can really shoot. Lucas Niglio, I said Niglio the last time because that's the correct Italian pronunciation. The G is silent. But Lucas Niglio is going to come off the bench. He's going to provide a huge spark. He's going to play excellent defense. He's going to get rebounds. He's going to get the gritty minutes in there for this Peddie Falcon team, and he's going to be really exciting to watch too. Also rounding out the starting lineup for the Peddie Falcons, Isaiah Seatram from Ajax, Ontario, the 5'8" guard, can really handle the ball well, also a great on-ball defender. So some excellent talent here for the Peddie Falcons. Let's take a look at some of their recent results as we move on here. At the end of December, they took down the Episcopal School by a score of 63-44. Episcopal, one of the standout teams in that Interact Conference just outside of Philadelphia. And then getting into their January schedule, they took down Wardlaw Hartridge. They had a minor setback against Blair, and then they defeated Mercersburg by 20. They defeated Pennington. As I said earlier, they scored 95 points They went down and took care of the Soulbury School, and then they dropped one against the Hill School. So there are only 2 losses in Maple League play to Hill and to Lawrenceville. The Hill School's got an excellent team this year. John Carroll has been doing an excellent job for them as well. But Peddie really holding their own throughout the entire season. 14-2 on the year. Not pictured in this graphic is their win against St. Benedict's that we talked about. But this is a team, I'm telling you, Joe, they can win any single game when they step out on the court.
Yeah, well, like you said, with the offensive firepower that Peddie has, it's really just a matter of how well their defense can play and how well that they can contain the Lawrenceville Big Red. And, you know, looking at the Big Red, they are a big team. They've got a lot of very big guys, some guys, like you mentioned before, Grant Newsom, an offensive lineman who they just put down low and is just a big bully and as strong as an ox, I believe, is the phrase that was used to describe Newsom. And, you know, if you can contain him a little bit and not let him push you around down low in the block, I think that Peddie's got a pretty good chance at that. And it should be interesting because, like you said, they play 4 guards. They're a little bit of a smaller style of ball. Lawrenceville, a bit more of a bigger team.
Yeah, but Peddie, you know, Peddie's initiative or Peddie's goal in each game when they have a smaller lineup is they want to put pressure on you as much as possible. Both ends of the court, they want to make it as difficult and annoying for you to bring it up the court as possible. So we saw Lawrenceville succeed, the Lawrenceville girls succeed in that regard. We're going to look to see the Peddie Falcons, the boys, succeed here in the nightcap. But this Peddie team, as you said, they start 4 guards, a little bit smaller. I asked Coach Rulowich earlier in the year what he thought their strength was, and he said it was the ability to change ends of the floor, whether it be offense or defense. And that's something that he really, really he really stresses day in and day out. This is a team that really wants to put that havoc defense on their opponent, and it leads to a lot of transition opportunities on the offensive end. But as you said, Lawrenceville might be, they might have the height advantage, but Peddie still has some guys that has some decent strength underneath. You look at Marlique Torre from New York, the 6-foot junior. He also played defensive tackle for the football team and offensive tackle. He's an outstanding football player. I think his opportunity to play at the next level will be in football over basketball, but I'm not the one that makes that decision. And also Carson Vey, who's a standout wide receiver from Pennington, New Jersey, 6'3" junior. Look for him to get some serious time here today. So they do have some strength to be able to contend with the height of this Lawrenceville team. Should be a high-scoring matchup today, Joe. Should be an absolutely exciting one as well. I think it's worth mentioning, if you can see in the shot here, at the right of that huddle, we have legendary coach Pete Carrill, who coached the Princeton Tigers, is now an assistant coach for the Lawrenceville School. So good to see him here helping out at the high school ranks, as we will hand it over to Coach Jim Domaraki, the athletic director here at Peddie, to announce these starting lineups. And you heard Probably the biggest cheer went for Brian Rivers. Brian Rivers, a local guy. As we said, just down the road in West Windsor. Crowd favorite. Crowd starting to pile in to the field house here to watch some great basketball action. We're about set to go here. There's an excitement in the air. Everybody ready to rock as we take a look at some of the Peddie socks today. Always something to look out for when you watch this Falcon team play. Brian Rivers going with the pink. Isaiah Seatram going with an orange with a stripe. And all wearing fluorescent green shoelaces. But hey, as they say, one guy's got to do it. Everybody's got to do it. The tip won by Peddie. Rivers spots up from 15, no good. Seatram with the rebound, keeps it alive for the Falcons. Rivers with an opening, kicks it out to Hickman. Hickman, no good. Rebound goes to Davis. Davis with the double pump, unable to get it to go. And the rebound there is by Card Childers.
Like the effort rebounding so far out of Peddie there on that first series. Couple of good offensive rebounds, just weren't able to convert on any.
Yeah, fast-paced game so far, really aggressive. Card Childers underneath. It's no good. They're going to call a foul on Nate Hickman. So we have our first foul of the game. David Plumley, Charlie Card Childers, Grant Newsom, Brandon Federici, and Grant Lazoya starting for the Lawrenceville Big Red as the free throw attempt from Card Childers goes in and out.
Card Childers, one of the senior captains on this team, 6'8". Big boy from Houston, Texas.
A pretty good basketball name too. What with the hyphen craze, Joe?
Yes, well, we've seen over the recent years Michael Kidd Gilchrist.
Exactly.
As one of those guys, and I'm sure there's plenty more that I'm just blanking right now, of course.
Langberg misses his first three-point attempt of the game. He has 27 on the season. Lazoya controls it at the top of the key. Seatram giving him some trouble. Plumley, now he's guarded by Seatram. As Hickman will take on Card Childers. Lazoya, very dangerous shooter, puts up one from behind the arc. It's no good. Rebound Rivers, and here he goes. Out to Seatram, unable to come up with it, and stolen away by Lazoya. Lazoya on the other end. And he's going to miss the layup. Good job by Everson Davis getting back, altering that fast break opportunity. Hickman to Rivers. Rivers for three. No good. Rebound goes to Card Childers.
And for all the talk that we were saying about how good these teams are offensively so far, just about 2 minutes in, still no score. A good defensive battle being put on so far.
Yeah, I think they're just, they're just getting us ready. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're setting it up. They're
Feeling
setting
each
it up
other
for
out.
an offensive explosion. It's coming. Down low to Lazoya. Lazoya almost able to put this one home. So he'll go to the line and shoot two. Foul will be on Isaiah Seatram. Grant Lazoya really, really quick, cutting behind the Peddie defenders. You think they work on some backdoor cuts in practice?
I think one or two. They might spend a little while on it.
Coach Carrill helping out this year. Grant Lazoya puts in the first point of the game. I was going to say basket. And the second one in and out, no good. Rebound goes to Davis. And Davis is going to run with it for Peddie. It's a very fast-paced, high-energy offense. Davis kicks it out to Langberg for three. And Langberg puts it home. George Langberg, 1 for 2 from behind the arc. Not sure if he heard me yelling from the balcony. And this three-point attempt is no good. The rebound will go out of bounds. It'll be off Grant Newsom. Grant Newsom did an outstanding job in the offseason getting himself ready for this year's athletic season. Put on some serious muscle in the weight room. Got himself a lot stronger. Earned himself a starting position here on the Lawrenceville basketball team. Rivers with the step back. Finds Langberg once again. Langberg, no good. Oh! It goes off the top of the rim. And they didn't call it out of bounds. But this is in. So George Langberg with 2 threes on the game. Coach Kane not happy about it.
Those are the kinds of shots that only go in video games, it seems.
Newsom fouled on the other end. He'll go to the line and shoot 2. So Langberg responsible for all 6 Peddie points. 6-1 is the score.
And boy, that's exactly what we were saying, you know, before the game when we were spotlighting Langberg. You can't allow him to get open from beyond the arc because more times than not, he's going to knock that one down.
And he doesn't need much. He doesn't need much space. Not a very high arc to the shot. It's almost like he's angry at the rim. Kind of firing a line drive at it as Newsom's first free throw is good. But he has such a shooter's touch as Lucas Niglio enters the game for the Falcons that it could go off the structure holding the basket and still go in. Newsom misses the back end, and Davis will push it for the Falcons, and he's going to step out of bounds. So it will be Lawrenceville basketball as Federici will inbound it for the Big Red.
And you know who, who Langberg reminds me a little bit of, and perhaps you'd be able to tell me how right or wrong this is.
Judge your comparison?
Yeah.
All right, let's hear it.
Steve Kerr.
Okay. I think he's a little bit bigger than Steve Kerr. I think on the defensive end, he's able to provide a little bit more and able to get over some long defenders. And Lozoya, the second chance opportunity goes in, and he'll pick up a technical foul. He thought he got fouled. So Lozoya getting a little too free with his speech to the referee, and he'll get a technical, which will send Nate Hickman to the line to shoot a couple free throws with nobody in the block. But I think of Michael Redd. Michael Redd, because of the lefty stroke. That's somebody that comes to mind. Somebody else that comes to mind would be a Darko Milic.
Darko Milic.
I'm kidding. Nate Hickman hits the first end. Hits the front end of the 2 free throws. And the second free throw is good. So Peddie will maintain possession.
Although I will say this for Darko Milicic, just a word in his defense. I feel like he was always misused.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. Hickman's going to take it for Peddie. He's going to hand it off to Brian Rivers. Rivers guarded by Federici. But he will soon to be guarded by somebody else as he likes to slash through the lane. Create some switching as Langberg puts up another 3. It's no good. Rebound goes to Federici. Lozoya to push it for Lawrenceville. He'll spot up from just inside the arc. It's no good. Lozoya's got a pretty smooth shot, Joe.
And you can see exactly why he scored 42 points. Almost effortless the way he puts the ball up.
Rivers, a step back jumper from the elbow, gets it to fall. 10-4 is the score. So Rivers has 2, Hickman has 2, and Langberg with those 2 threes, tallying 6 for the Peddie Falcons to equal their 10 points here in the first quarter. Plumlee to the rack, goes up with the right hand. It's no good. Foul will be called on Everson Davis.
Well, a very tightly officialed game here in this first quarter. 4 fouls now on Peddie. Of course, the technical on Lawrenceville, and you can see that they're not really going to allow this one to get too physical or too out of hand.
We have 3 officials in this contest, all with a keen eye on keeping everything under control here, as you said, Joe. Plumlee will hit the first free throw, and the second one is good. Plumlee, another gym rat for you. You head out to the Lawrenceville Fieldhouse. You will more likely than not see him working on his game. Lozoya guarded by Rivers. Rivers doing an excellent job, making him uncomfortable with the basketball as Plumlee gets it now at the top of the key. Rivers pokes it away, unable to come up with it. Plumlee from the free throw line. It's no good. Rebound, Everson Davis.
And you could really chalk up that stop to some really good defense that was played by Brian Rivers.
And Niglio going to box out, win this jump ball, and save it from going back court as Hickman now slows it down for the Falcons.
Good hustle that time by Niglio to get back there and to be aware of where he was, not stepping into the backcourt before saving it.
So off the front of the rim, it's no good. Lozoya with the rebound. Federici's going to push it for Lawrenceville. Nice move, getting to the rack, off the backboard and in. Brandon Federici with his first basket of the game. Brandon Federici, Lucas Niglio fighting for the best last names on the court today.
I'll give the edge right now to Federici.
I think that is rolls off the tongue a little bit easier.
Also, the pink shoes don't hurt either.
They don't hurt, but I'll tell you what, Lucas Niglio's hair gives him some points. It is one of the best flows you will see in New Jersey. That is for sure. Everson Davis at the top of the key. Hands it off to Hickman. Hickman rather quiet from the offensive end as Everson Davis puts up a three, and it's no good. Card Childers the rebound. Rivers looking forward to the challenge of guarding Lozoya, knowing full well what Lozoya was able to do earlier in this week as he put up 42 points in a single game. Plumlee from the baseline, he's got it, gets it to go.
Got ourselves a tie game just like that. Lawrenceville once led 10-4, so a 6-0 run. Excuse me, for Lawrenceville. Peddie once was in the lead.
Hickman, no good. Rebound goes to Newsom. Nate Hickman, postgraduate from Wilmington, Delaware. Spent his 4 years at the Wilmington Christian School.
Wilmington, a lovely city.
Home of tax-free shopping. Lozoya gets to the rim, but he'll be fouled on the floor before he gets to the basket. So they will take it underneath. So Austin Shelton checks into the game for Langberg. Austin Shelton, the 6'5" senior from New York City. Loose ball gobbled up by Lozoya, who puts it up and in. Grant Lozoya. And Lozoya doesn't really care if anybody's in his face, Joe. He's going to just fire it.
And why not when you got a stroke like he does?
So Lawrenceville now taking a 13-10 lead off of that fadeaway three from Lozoya. Davis tries a three of his own. It's no good, and Lozoya gets the rebound.
Good contributions off the glass for Lozoya today, too. Not
Lozoya
just scoring.
Almost runs into Coach Kane on the sidelines. And if you want just some pure entertainment, and Rivers on the other end gets the turnover and the bucket. If you want some pure entertainment, just go ahead and watch Coach Kane throughout the game. Coach Kane has been coaching for 26 years as Grant Newsom puts it off the backboard and in. He's been coaching for 26 years, 23 years as the head coach. Served as an assistant to Armand Hill for his first 3 years. Coach Hill is now a member of the Los Angeles Clippers coaching staff. Everson Davis from the corner, and he's got it. Davis answers with a three to tie the game at 15. 15 all in the first quarter, and we got what we expected, Joe. An exciting game so far.
Certainly, and it got off to a bit of a slow start. Nobody scored for the first 2 full minutes of this game, but since then, an offensive explosion for both teams. A couple of threes hit by George Langberg, and then that big three there right at the end to tie it up at 15 apiece, and we've got ourselves a ball game.
So both teams head into the second quarter. Game tied at 15. Neither team really having to go deep into their bench. I think they've played about 6, maybe 7 guys each. Sometimes you'll see that increase as Peddie picks up the tempo of their game. But so far, we've seen some great outside shooting, and really, really even play. I think the advantage that Lawrenceville has had is they got some really quick, athletic guys that can break this press, which is a really, really tough thing to do against Peddie. And when you can have that, you have accurate passers, it makes it difficult to maintain that press for the entire half.
It certainly does, and as we get started here in this second quarter, I'll be taking over play-by-play, and Tom will be moving over to color here real quick as it'll be Lawrenceville taking the ball here to start the second quarter of play. 8 minutes on the clock, 15 all is the score. Lozoya will have it, he'll bark out orders to his teammates. Gives a handoff pass to Brandon Federici. Now over to Newsom. Drives the lane, goes up, and it's going to be a charge foul. Offensive foul called that time on Charlie Kidd Childers. Boy, that's a mouthful to say.
That's Lucas Niglio getting in there, like we said, earning those hard work, those effort minutes here for Peddie. They're doing a great job getting himself in position to take that charge.
Will be Nate Hickman bringing up the ball for Peddie. Game knotted up at 15. Just started the second quarter in case you're just joining us. A whole bunch of threes from George Langberg is all you need to know as far as Peddie goes. Lucas Niglio outside, now gives back to Hickman up top. Dribbles left, now hands off to Davis outside. 3-ball. No good that time from Isaiah Seatram. And the rebound goes to Lawrenceville, and they'll take it the other way. Driving the lane, going up and looking for a foul is Lozoya. He's not going to get it, but a nice rebound and a putback by Brandon Federici gets us our first points of the second quarter.
A good job by Federici, boxing out, freeing up his right hand and putting it right back up for Lawrenceville. Good job cleaning up the glass. Great job on the defensive end, the defensive glass by Grant Newsom down here that led to that opportunity underneath.
Everson Davis gives it to Isaiah Seatram now in the corner for Niglio. Back to Seatram between the circles. Swinging it around the perimeter are the Falcons. It's Seatram again now on the right wing. Gives back to Hickman.
Looks like Lawrenceville wants them to shoot the outside jumper as Niglio knocks this one down and makes them pay.
Yeah, 3-pointer that time for Lucas Niglio. Like I said, looking to try and make him shoot the outside jumper, and they did. It's going to be Peddie ball here. Grant Lozoya will head to the bench for Lawrenceville. Quick play off the inbounds pass. Layup attempt was no good from Everson Davis. And so taking it the other way is Lawrenceville trailing by 1. Just about 6 minutes and 6 seconds remain here in the second quarter. Driving, Federici goes up. And commits a foul, another offensive foul. So the basket, of course, no good. Got some cheering from the Peddie crowd section, so you figure that it might have been against Lawrenceville, but it was a bit of a late indication by the ref after the whistle.
Peddie doing a good job taking advantage of the aggressiveness of Lawrenceville on the defensive end. You saw Niglio take one, and another charge taken by Peddie. Lawrenceville needs to maintain their control and composure going to the lane, and that'll be called all game.
3-ball for Hickman, and he gets it to go from the corner. 21-17.
And this Peddie team is really starting to heat up from behind the arc.
Down low, Newsom goes up and gets fouled. Bucket is good.
See, and that is where you run into trouble with this press, when you have somebody athletic enough and strong enough underneath that can handle those passes and finish at the rim like Newsom can. That leaves you pretty vulnerable for quick buckets.
Newsom, as we mentioned several times so far today, offensive lineman's got actually a couple of offers to play at D1 schools, misses the free throw. And the scrum for the rebound's going to go out of bounds. Last touch by a Peddie player. And so the Big Red will retain 21-19. They trail by 2 with about 5.5 to go. On the outside, it's Card Childers. Goes up top between the circles, hands off for Federici. Goes up from the free throw line, no good. Rebound goes to Rivers. He's going to push the tempo the other way now. Gets stopped and gives to Hickman, drives the lane, goes up, no good. Peddie looking for a foul. They're not going to get the call that time, as no whistle, and they'll play on. Federici with it on the outside, gives down low, going up and getting the basket to go is Sebastian Pierre-Louis, excuse me.
Pierre-Louis, a 6'4" junior from Williamstown, New Jersey, contributing some valuable minutes all season long.
Outside, 3-ball, Davis, and he is good. 24-21, 3-point lead for Peddie once again. Tough press being employed by Peddie here, but Lawrenceville able to get it across. Federici running the point. drives, goes up from the block, gets it to go as he laid it in off the glass. Lawrenceville now trails by 1, 24-23. Brian Rivers with it for Peddie. He gives back to Davis. Davis, Langberg, 3, airmailed it. But a nice second chance opportunity by Hickman to get the lay-in and get this one back to a 3-point lead for Peddie, and a timeout called by Lawrenceville.
Yeah, Peddie really firing on all cylinders on the offensive end, whether it's getting to the rack or draining these outside shots. You saw a couple offensive rebounds there, really making it work on the offensive end for Peddie, building a nice 3-point lead. It's back and forth. Both teams shooting lights out.
And you know, this was the kind of game that we expected to see. High scoring, back and forth, very closely contested game. Got two very talented teams out there on the court, and boy, if they can keep this level of excitement up, this should absolutely be one of the better games that we'll see.
Yeah, I think so, and I think this crowd is really starting to get into it. You're seeing the Peddie student section build. It is the only event on campus tonight. People, for the most part, grounded due to the snow.
Oh, not for misbehavior.
No, not for misbehavior. Does that still happen? Do people still get grounded? Or is that like a 90s thing?
I think so.
Okay.
It might have died out around 07 or 08. And a nice steal by Lucas Niglio outside for 3. Seatram gets it to go. Boy, we saw in the women's game Lawrenceville employ a full court press and really disrupt Peddie. And now in the men's game, it's almost the exact opposite as down low Card Childers gets it to go. Break up a little bit of the momentum for Peddie, 29-25, about 3.5 left to play. Niglio on the outside, gives back to Rivers. Rivers to Langberg. Back to Rivers, driving to the basket, kicks it outside for Niglio. Langberg, open 3 from the wing. Gets it to go. Friendly roll off the front of the basket. Third three-pointer for George Langberg today.
And you know what? That was set up by Brian Rivers getting into the teeth of this zone defense, getting it to Niglio, who found a wide open Rivers, and another charge taken under the basket for Peddie. And Nate Hickman is fired up.
As well he should be. What a great job Peddie has been doing at drawing these charge fouls. That time they got Charlie Card Childers for going in a little bit too fast, and that's clearly something that they've been working on doing.
Yeah, Peddie doing an outstanding job, as I said earlier, taking advantage of the aggression on the offensive end for Lawrenceville, and Lawrenceville still yet to adjust to it.
7-point lead for Peddie, so they slow down the tempo. Rivers up fakes, now drives to the basket, goes up and gets fouled. Basket was no good, so we'll go to the line and shoot 2 free throws.
And that is what Brian Rivers does. He creates a lot of opportunities from the free throw line because he's able to get to the basket. Really strong guard, drives so well. And now he's got an opportunity to put 2 more on the board for Peddie.
And he hits the first, nothing but the bottom of the net on that one. Making it 33-25. Substitution as Langberg will head to the bench, and Everson Davis will check back into the game as Rivers is good on the second free throw as well. 34-25, 9-point lead for the Falcons. Interesting inbound play for Lawrenceville. They get it in deep. Driving to the basket, Federici lays it in.
It's a really nice athletic play by Brandon Federici.
Coming back the other way is Peddie. Davis, open 3 look. A little bit short, and I believe they're going to say that that was tipped in. Another Peddie player, so only 2 points. Coming back the other way after the steal. Driving to the basket, going up and getting it to go is Nate Hickman. 39-27, and another timeout taken by Lawrenceville as all of a sudden Peddie has seized momentum in this one.
Nate Hickman, that is one of the more athletic plays that you will see. Outstanding job. And Lawrenceville, if they want to keep giving Peddie the outside, Peddie is going to keep taking advantage of it. And as you saw earlier, Joe, that was a 3-pointer. I think there was a little bit of confusion on whether or not it was tipped or if there was offensive goaltending, but they did give the 3 to Davis, I believe it was. And Peddie now firing on all cylinders.
And as you saw, the Peddie crowd there really getting all kinds of excited, jumping up on their feet, chanting 7 Nation Army as we take a look at that replay. Just what a job getting elevated and then falling away to get that one to go in off the glass.
Hey, that's a ridiculous play. I mean, that is a ridiculous play if we watch this again, as he's able to maintain his composure with one hand, getting fouled, absorbing the contact, going up and finishing. Nate Hickman, what an outstanding play.
Nate Hickman, as we've mentioned, out of Delaware, postgraduate, 1,000-point scorer in his career. He's been recruited by a couple of different Ivy League schools, Fairfield and New Hampshire as well. Interested in securing his services going forward, and he was the MVP of the Peddie tournament. Led Peddie to their first victory in that tournament's history. So Lawrenceville will inbound the ball from underneath their own basket. Tight press being played. They do that two-man inbounds play. And they'll get into Federici down low. Wow, what defense being played that time by Brian Rivers to stop Grant Newsom's initial attempt. Newsom, though, was able to grab the rebound and finish the second time around. Davis for three, yes! 42-29 with 2 minutes left in the half. As Peddie is seemingly knocking down every shot they take. Newsom down low, gets it to go off the glass.
Grant Newsom into double digits now. Really getting a lot of opportunities underneath.
Rivers drives, no good. Second chance opportunity for Peddie. They grab the rebound. Back to Rivers. Rivers up top. Niglio, top of the arc three, no good. And taken by Lawrenceville. So they finally come up with a stop defensively. Minute and a half to go in this second quarter of play. Ball stolen away by Everson Davis, and they're going to say he stepped on the line. And he is not happy and slams the ball down.
And this Peddie team is just so athletic. I mean, even on that possession, Lawrenceville had numbers. Peddie was struggling to get back, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Davis comes in, gets his hand on a basketball, and almost takes it the other way.
31-42 the score in favor of Peddie. And a whistle and this
carry on Newsom there.
Yeah, they got a carry on Newsom, and so will be Peddie ball. Inbounded into Everson Davis. Junior transfer from West Side in Newark, New Jersey. Up top, three ball. In and out for Nate Hickman. Rebound by Grant Newsom. He's been arguably the best player for the Big Red today. Card Childers. You can credit for that point. 44 seconds remain here in this first half of basketball. 42-33 the score in favor of Peddie. Driving, Rivers goes up, layup attempt is no good, but he got fouled, and he'll head to the line with 36 seconds remaining.
Another example of Rivers' ability to get to the line. Wasn't able to finish there, but just doing a great job creating lanes, creating alleys for himself, and really just skyrocketing through them all game long.
And he hits the first free throw. He's now 3 for 3 from the line. Substitution coming for Peddie as Austin Shelton will check in, and Everson Davis will have a seat on the bench.
Sonny Piplani in the game from Singapore.
And he is a big kid as well. Another 6'8" guy for this Lawrenceville team. Zola gives up to Federici by the circle. Over to Pierre-Louis. Could be Pierre-Louis.
No, it is
Pierre-Louis.
It is Pierre-Louis. You would be correct. Like
Martin
St. Louis.
And with a first name like Sebastian, it's I feel safe to assume on that one. Three ball, no good for Lazola, taken the other way by Peddie. Here comes Seatram driving, lays it up and good. 46-33, 1 second, last second, desperation heave by Federici. Just off the mark, a little bit to the left, and so we go into the half. 46-33, and a thunderous applause here for this Peddie's Falcons team as they played a great half of basketball.
As Peddie gets going offensively, when they get into a rhythm, when they start to get hot, it is almost impossible to stop them. They are so good from behind the arc. They are so good at creating and getting to the rim. it's a really, really difficult team to stop defensively, and especially if they get into a groove, kind of their defense begets their fast-paced offense. It leads to opportunities on the other end, and when things are going for them, things are really, really going for them. Their good is really, really good.
And we certainly saw their good right there in that second quarter when they went on that really incredible run where it seemed like they were just making every shot that they could possibly make. They were putting it up, and if they weren't making the shot, they were getting the rebound and then getting that second chance opportunity.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of it has to do with their ability to execute. I mean, their ability to execute when they have open opportunities. And they don't need too much. They don't need too much space. But their pace of play opens up for a lot of three-point opportunities, and you saw them hit it. Whether it was Everson Davis put in a couple threes, Nate Hickman dropped a couple threes, obviously George Langberg had 2 in the first quarter, and this is a really, really dangerous team. If you want to let them have that shot, they're going to make you pay all day long.
And we'll certainly see if they're able to keep up this same pace in the second half of basketball and what adjustments will be made by Lawrenceville, because whatever they're doing doesn't seem to be working out very well in this first half.
I think Lawrenceville just needs to find a way to just slow it down. Slow down the pace of the game, and if they can control the pace, they'll have a shot here. But they can't let Peddie get on these runs, because Peddie can take a run for an entire game. And we've seen it all season long. A standout for Lawrenceville in the first half, Grant Newsom. When they're able to break the press, they're able to find Grant Newsom underneath, and he's been able to finish, I think, 9 times out of 10 underneath. Maybe not 9 field goals, but he is leading the team in scoring. We've seen some flashes from Grant Lazoya, as we said earlier, had a 42-point performance earlier in the week, and you can really see the potential for him to go off. And his shot is incredible. It's one of the smoothest shots that I've seen. He nailed a fadeaway 3 from the corner. It's one of the most difficult shots to make. And you could definitely see some potential there. Lawrenceville obviously has the ability. They have the ability to score. They have the ability to play defense. They have the ability to play down low. They just need to get it together for a consistent amount of time.
And we'll see if they will be able to do that just after this, as we'll bring you the second half of basketball right here on Strive TV. And at the half, it's 46 for the Peddie Falcons and 33 for the Lawrenceville Prep Big Red here on Strive TV.
High school sports have such a capacity to be educational. We consider it to be an extension of the classroom. Peddie coaches model the behaviors and the core values that Peddie aims to instill in its students. Respect, honesty, scholarship, balance, courage, and integrity. Ultimately, we are trying to develop boys and girls to help them become men and women of integrity and empathy, so that they will lead, be responsible, and help change the world for good. If we can accomplish that, we've accomplished great things, I think.
I'd say athletics are definitely a big part of the community. Over the summer, that's one of the biggest things I'm looking forward to, like just seeing everybody on the team again and getting back to play on the field. And I feel like we're not just like a team with like players, we're definitely a family, and we all trust each other and are there for each other.
We've been able to blend the swimming program with the athletic department and the academic level of the school, that our program is really geared towards education of the individual and of the team itself. And so trying to get 35 kids to understand why they're swimming, not only for themselves, but for each other as a collective group and a family, because that's ultimately the most important lesson that they need to learn.
One of the things that I think is unique about Peddie is that it's a school that is large enough so it's hard for a student to outgrow Peddie, but it's small enough that it's hard to fall through the cracks. We have the facilities, the curricular programs, the extracurricular programs that people might tend to associate with a much larger school. And Peddie, at the same time, is small enough to have a close-knit community, close relationships between students and faculty members, and so I think in some ways Peddie has the best of both worlds in that regard.
Peddie's an open place in a number of respects, and one of them is that the people who are here, I think, are not very concerned about a lot of external stuff. So there's not a particular sort of stamped Peddie kid that looks like this or that steps out of that catalog.
Our kids come from so many different backgrounds, so many different countries, and they really get along. Peddie kids are here to learn from each other. The kids really like each other for being who they are, which makes it a very safe place, and I think when you feel safe, then it's easy to step outside your boundaries and to try new things.
Peddie has really given me those opportunities to explore new avenues, but all within the context of who I originally was and who I'm growing to become, whether that be through golf or through signing up for elective courses or doing musical theater, which I never thought about in middle school. Peddie really gives students the power to shape their experience here.
Peddie's definitely a special place. The kids definitely take ownership of the campus. It's a culture that's passed down from the upperclassmen. You know, by the time they're seniors, they're thinking, we really love this place. And the underclassmen see that, and they kind of mimic that behavior.
And welcome back. It is halftime here in Game 2 of tonight's doubleheader as the Peddie Falcons are leading the Lawrenceville Big Red by a score of 46-33, and we saw an excellent second quarter of play alongside Joe Vasile and Alex Deutsch. I'm Tom Monfiletto, and had a great night here so far. This game really shaped up to be a back-and-forth battle in the first quarter. Then in that second quarter, 31-18 in favor of the Peddie Falcons, Joe.
Yeah, and what makes it even more impressive is Lawrenceville has 33 points for the whole game.
Right.
Peddie had 31 there in that second quarter. They were just on fire from beyond the arc, from down low. They got to the line a couple of times, knocked down all their free throws, and that's really been the difference, is when they just kind of caught fire there in that second quarter. And Lawrenceville's really got to try and shut that down a little bit and maybe catch fire on their own to make this a close game again. But for now, right now, it's a 13-point lead for Peddie.
Everson Davis leads all scorers with 12. Isaiah Seatram has 3. George Langberg has 6 off of 2 threes. Lucas Niglio hit a 3. Nate Hickman has 7, and Brian Rivers has 10. For Lawrenceville, Grant Lazoya has 6. Brandon Federici 8. Sebastian Pierre-Louis with 2. David Plumley with 4. Charlie Card-Childers with 4. And Grant Newsom leads the Big Red with 9 points.
And Grant Newsom, like we said, has been the best player on the court today for Lawrenceville Prep. He's been active on the glass. He's grabbed a whole bunch of rebounds, obviously the 9 points down low, and just using his physical strength to get down and muscle around some of the Falcons' front court.
Yeah, he's done an outstanding job so far. I don't think he's come out of the game at all in the first half.
I think you might be right. Good stamina for a big guy like him, too.
Absolutely. That's what I'm talking about. He's a hard worker.
Strong as an ox.
He's strong as an ox. Great cardiovascular ability. That's envious.
Yeah, I'd be out there for 2 minutes and be winded. And that's just intramural basketball. Peddie's got the ball to start the third quarter. 46-33 the score. It's Nate Hickman up top. Gives corner. Threeberg. Threeberg. Three ball by Langberg.
I think we just found a nickname.
Yeah, George Threeberg with the three-pointer. So 49-33, a 16-point lead right now for Peddie. Rivers goes in, gets a steal. Hickman back to Rivers, drives, goes up, and he gets it blocked. But it goes out of bounds. Last touch by Grant Lazoya, who came up with the big block for the Lawrenceville Big Red. Rivers inbounds to Hickman. In the corner, drives the baseline, goes up, tried to dunk it. Ended up some good defense that time. Did not go in. And now going the other way, Lawrenceville, whistle and a foul call on Rivers for a little push along the sideline.
I think the walls would have caved in if he connected on that dunk attempt.
It's been a very loud crowd.
It's a very loud facility as well.
Yes, the Eric B. Hansen Fieldhouse here on the beautiful campus of the Peddie School. Rivers with some tight defense on Lozoya. Drives the basket, goes up, and he gets it to go. First points of the quarter for Lawrenceville with just about a little over 7 minutes remaining. Outside, Davis kicks back to Rivers. Rivers drives, takes a step back, now gives back outside to Davis. He'll drive, go up, double covered, and he gets it to go anyway. 51-35 in favor of the Falcons. Lozoya trying to make things happen. Drives, double covered. Boy, looks like he's just trying to do too much out there as that shot was no good. Rebounded by Peddie and back the other way. Hickman drives, goes up. Little contact, no call. Going back the other way for Lawrenceville, and an errant pass goes out of bounds. Lozoya was unable to corral that one, and so it will be Peddie ball.
I don't know if you saw Brian Rivers make that pass from under the basket after he corralled the rebound, but he fired like an 80-mile-an-hour seed with his right hand, and he's left-handed. So it's pretty impressive here. Pretty impressive athleticism. On the other end, you saw Everson Davis just creating a little bit of space as he does it once again and gets it to go. I mean, these are the kind of baskets that he's able to get for himself if he's given just the smallest bit of space.
On the outside right now, it's Card Childers. And it's tipped and stolen again by Peddie. Going the other way, Rivers lays it up and good. And a timeout called by Lawrenceville, their first of this half that they have taken. They took a few back in the first. 55-35, a 20-point lead right now for the Peddie Falcons as they just have come out of halftime and are seemingly doing everything right, Tom.
Yeah, and things are starting to get out of hand here inside the Eric B. Hansen Fieldhouse. Peddie really just keeping their foot on the gas, not letting Lawrenceville come up for air, and just doing an outstanding job. Really, really trying to build this lead and not give Lawrenceville any kind of an opportunity to come back in this game.
Well, as we mentioned, Peddie 14-2 on the season. And their two losses have been to some pretty good teams as well. They've really handled their competition well. Of course, perhaps their best win of the season was against St. Benedict's just on Thursday. Lawrenceville will inbound from underneath their own basket. Or excuse me, not underneath their own basket, but
we know what you meant.
Yeah, exactly. Shot no good. Second chance opportunity for Card Childers goes. And so 55-37 now the score. Pushing the tempo on the other side is Blair. Rivers drives, kicks to the outside. Three ball, Seatram. No good. Long rebound goes out to Lozoya. He pushes it up blindly for Federici, who goes up, gets the foul, and one. And he'll have a chance for an old-fashioned three-point play to bring this back to a 15-point game if he can hit the free throw.
Really nice play. Really, really nice play there by Brandon Federici. Able to control himself, athletic enough to put this one up and draw the foul.
Lucas Niglio checks back in. George Langberg will have a seat on the bench.
I'm really happy that we did that, by the way, Joe. I'm really happy about it.
Well, sometimes the best things come by accident.
And then
as the free throw is good.
We see the replay here of Federici, a really athletic play.
I tell you, he's really impressed me very much with his play today. And I guess he can be a little overshadowed by Lozoya, but boy, he can play some basketball, so to speak. Driving, Davis gets the lay and a go. 17-point lead once again for Peddie. Lozoya outside goes up. It's another charge against Lawrenceville. It'll be Peddie ball.
That's the third charge of the game here against Lawrence. There's a fourth charge of the game against Lawrenceville.
I believe 2 on Federici, 1 on Newsom. Now that one there on Lozoya. 14:45 left here in this third quarter of basketball. Peddie leads 57-40. Driving. Hickman goes up, gets fouled, and he'll head to the line and shoot 2. First trip to the free throw line of the game for Nate Hickman. Hickman came into the game averaging 17.9 points per game. Just a little delay here before we'll get things started with the free throws. It's at 26 threes on the season, and the first free throw is good. 14:39 remaining here in this game. In this third quarter. 58-40 is the score. Hickman's second free throw is good as well. And so he's a perfect 2 for 2 from the line. Lawrenceville will inbound. It goes to Federici. He's double covered. And it gets it out to Lozoya, slowing things down. 3 ball. No good. Rebound that time by Nate Hickman. He went up in the trees and grabbed that one right back down. 4:23 left. Taking it the other way is Lawrenceville after a turnover. Lozoya down low to Newsom. Gets it to go.
Scary play underneath as Newsom landed on Niglio, but just an outstanding play by Grant Lozoya. That was phenomenal.
One-man press by Federici. Nearly comes up with a steal, but it's recovered by Rivers. Hickman, 3 ball, in and out. And taken the other way by David Plumley. And the pass is going to go back over the half-court line, and so over and back is the call, and going to have a stoppage. These teams will gather. Another timeout taken by Lawrenceville.
Peddie building a 17-point. Where's my math here?
Oh, yeah, you're right. 59-42.
17-point lead here, really just running away with it, and Peddie doing a great job. They don't. It's tough to say defensive end because they have the press on the whole time. But I mean, I've really been impressed by their ability to take advantage of turnovers. Because it's one thing to create turnovers. We saw in the girls' game they were able to create turnovers, but when you're not taking advantage of them, you're not turning them into points on the offensive end, it doesn't help you much.
And you know what else I've been very impressed with is the conditioning of this Peddie team, because to be able to play the press that they play and then the up-tempo style of offense that they play for this entire game really takes a lot of good conditioning for the team and some good coaching as well.
I agree. Totally agree with you there. Coming out of the timeout, and Lawrenceville really needs to use this opportunity to get some to regroup and find a way to get them some outside shot opportunities, because they have some shooters on this team. You have Lozoya, Federici, Plumley, all can knock it down from behind the arc. They need to get those opportunities so they can crawl back into this game.
Ball inbounded back to Rivers. He'll take it. Across for Peddie. Guarded by Federici, a little bit loosely. Zone being played, kicks to the outside. Niglio now drives, gives back to Rivers. Bit of a loose ball, but recovered by Peddie. Driving, Rivers goes up, gets the lay-in. Now 61-42, 19-point game. And a whistle and a foul call here on Rivers. A little bit overzealous that time in the press.
Now, Rivers only about 6'2", but his bounce and his athleticism kind of add some inches to his frame.
Shot attempt, no good by Federici. Rebounded, though, by Lawrenceville. He'll drive again, and no good. Rebounded that time by Davis. He'll bring it up. Drives to the basket, gets a foul call. Bucket was no good as, well, you saw Nate Hickman go up there and try and make a slam dunk after the foul was called. Shot wouldn't have been good anyway, but the crowd was really looking for one there.
Yeah, I mean, Hickman's just really looking to dunk. That's what's going on.
I was going to say, this is already now twice.
He's looking for any opportunity to dunk and then do something to the crowd to, to let them know that he appreciates their efforts.
Well, he's got 11 more minutes of basketball overall to try and get that dunk in there, as they're going to finally wipe up the floor. As a big applause now for I don't even know who that was. That was, I believe, the towel boy.
I think that was Dylan Lloyd.
Dylan Lloyd
getting it done for the Peddie Falcons.
Dylan Lloyd. I didn't see the number. That's what the big issue there was as a substitution coming up. Austin Shelton checks back into the game. Seastrom.
Dylan Lloyd, 6'4" sophomore from Oceanport, New Jersey. Taking it all in.
And apparently a fan favorite, as the second free throw is good as well. 63-42, it's a 21-point lead. Pushing the tempo, coming the other way is Lawrenceville. Lazoya down low, has it go off the hands of Grant Newsom and back the other way for Peddie. Checking into the game is Sonny Piplani once again. It's about built like a beanpole, tall and skinny.
Definitely has some length, a long wingspan as well, Joe.
Niglio drives right around Piplani and gets the lay-in to go. Lucas Niglio, another tick on the score sheet for him, 65-42. Peddie starting to really pull away in this one. 3-ball, Federici. He was feeling it that time and got it to go. Bringing it back to a 20-point game. Long inbounds pass for Rivers. Makes a nice move to get around his man. And ducks underneath Piplani and gets the lay-in to go. Ryan Rivers.
It was ridiculous. That was just absurd.
I was going to say, you're seeing the athleticism on display there. Federici nearly has it taken away. Contested shot, airballs that one. Niglio might have gotten a tip.
Oh,
Rivers with the 3 on the other end.
Ryan Rivers is feeling it right now.
70-45. Peddie leads right now. Minute 40 about left to go in this third quarter. Down low, Newsom, layup attempt, no good. Rebound, he gets his own, and he goes up, misses the shot, but gets fouled, and so he'll head to the free throw line to shoot 2.
Now this is where it gets really, really dangerous against this Peddie team. This is the game that they are built to play. When you have quick shot opportunities for Lawrenceville, when they have quick shot opportunities, they lead to transition for Peddie, and Peddie just absolutely makes you pay. As Grant Newsom takes his first free throw and misses, we are going to look at this play by Brian Rivers. Down low, takes the contact with his right hand off the glass. They don't call a foul, but as we said, Brian Rivers is left-handed, and he was able to get that to go as Grant Newsom hits the second free throw.
And now it's 46 points for Lawrenceville, and that is as many points as Peddie had in the first half. There's about a minute 38 to go in this third quarter. Just a very impressive offensive display by Peddie in this game. Niglio to Davis. On the outside now, it's Max Grutchus with his first action today. Cross-court pass, tipped, goes out of bounds. Last touch by Lawrenceville. That was Sebastian Pierre-Louis with that one. And so it'll stay down on this end. Peddie ball. Rivers with it, guarded by Pierre-Louis.
Rivers at this point is he's having a blast.
I was going to say.
This is where it's really, really fun to play basketball.
Just looks like he's toying with the defense. Davis gets a screen, goes up, shoots the 3 and 1.
Baby. Everson Davis.
And a chance for a 4-point play for Everson Davis.
Make it hurt, why don't you? Step back 3, gets the foul. That was a legitimate foul as well.
And that is a cardinal sin in this game of basketball, to foul a guy while he's shooting a 3.
As we see him drain this, taking the contact.
Crowd nearly silent. And Davis, nothing but net. 74-46 the score, a 28-point deficit for Lawrenceville. Deep inbounds pass goes to Newsom, and he's going to get a whistle. He traveled. 57 seconds left in the third, 74-46, and Peddie gets the ball back.
28-point lead for the Peddie Falcons. The game was really, really tight in the first quarter. We ended the first quarter with the score 15-15. The second quarter, Peddie really started to run away with it, or they started to sort of increase the gap. And then the third quarter, they've just absolutely dominated.
Rivers with it between the circles. He'll just back up and let some time tick off the clock.
It's almost like the Eagles with the lead now, Joe, where now they need to slow it up a little bit. Take
Federici
advantage
pokes
of the
it
clock.
loose. And they'll have a whistle and a stoppage here with 23 seconds left. They're going to call the foul on Peddie. And, you know, I know what you mean with the whole Eagles analogy about now having to slow it down because, of course, both run very fast tempo, but sometimes that can work against you if you have a lead late in the game.
I agree. I think they could just keep scoring and keep scoring and keep scoring.
You're certainly seeing how they put up 95 on Pennington just a few weeks ago. 3-ball, Federici. 74-29.
How lucky are you if you are a Peddie student or fan as Everson Davis misses a three? You get to see this kind of action every night on your home court.
It certainly is an exciting brand of basketball that they're playing, and it has netted them a 29, that would be awful. 74-49 lead going into this fourth quarter, 8 minutes left. You think they're scoring 95 tonight?
They could. If they want to, I think they could. I'm not sure if they're gonna do that. But I want to tell you, Joe.
Yes.
And everybody else watching about the Winter Musical that is about to take place February 13th through the 15th here at Peddie. It is 9 to 5. That is the name of the musical. 7:30 p.m. each night. I believe that's a Thursday, a Friday, and a Saturday. Perfect Valentine's Day gift. Go see 9 to 5 at Peddie with your date. It'll be fun. Tickets are $10. I mean, you can't get a cheaper date than that. Call 609-944-7550. Email arts@peddie.org. Just tell her you went on StubHub and you got the marked up prices.
Well, yeah, you can do that. Also, you can see that lovely student who was in our video that we played at halftime, who said he is involved with all of that. Of course,
there we go.
A lot of great stuff going down here at Peddie. And as we mentioned during the women's game, I've got that soundtrack in my car, as do you. So I can confirm there are some great tunes in 90. And so just about to start here the fourth quarter, I will hand the play-by-play reins back over to my partner in crime, Tom Monvalette.
Thank you, Joe. Let's get this 9 to 5 graphic off, for crying out loud. And Grant Lazoya begins the fourth quarter of play with a 3-ball to decrease the deficit here for Lawrenceville. Grant Lazoya with an outstanding outside shot has really shown that he can be lethal from that area of the court. So Peddie takes over on offense. Gretches for 3, it's no good. The tall lefty getting his first action of the game as you saw him enter the game late in the third quarter. This will go out of bounds and Lawrenceville will now take over.
Yeah, it looks like Peddie's starting to go a little bit further down the bench. Austin Shelton, we've seen in, getting a lot more playing time over the last few minutes. Grutches checked in as well for the first time towards the end of that third quarter. So looks like a little bit of an easing.
Lazoya from NBA range, no good. Rebound goes to Hickman. Hickman wants to run with it. Hickman spots up from the free throw line, gets it to go. Nate Hickman with the smooth stroke for the Falcons. Plumlee bringing it up, and he traveled.
That's another travel that time called on Lawrenceville. They seem to be losing their focus just ever so slightly in this game a little bit with all the charges and the travels and some of the other mental mistakes that they've been making in this one.
Sebastian Pierre-Louis back into the game for the Big Red as Rivers, guarded by Federici, gets it to Langberg, or aptly named Threeberg. George Langberg, 3 3-pointers. He now has 30 on the season. Rivers all the way to the hole, off the backboard and in. Ryan Rivers will not be denied. If he makes up his mind to get to the basket, he's getting there.
And you mentioned in the pregame, he's one of those guys that has the ability to take over and control a game. And that's exactly what we've seen him do here today.
I think we have. I don't want to downplay the efforts of Everson Davis and Nate Hickman, who were really instrumental in getting this huge lead for Peddie. But Bryant Rivers really, when there was any opportunity for Lawrenceville to get back into the game, he came back down with a drive, with a three-point play, getting to the foul line, and really just controlled things for this Peddie offense. Almost had a block right here. They called a foul as Card Childers connects on both free throws. Everson Davis, though, there is just so much talent on this Peddie team, on this Peddie floor. They can really, really take any game. I don't think the height. I don't think the fact that they don't have anybody over 6'4" in their starting lineup. I really don't think that's an issue. It was an issue earlier in the season against Blair. Nate Hickman for three and no good, and the rebound goes to Isaiah Seatram. It was an issue against Blair as Rivers gets it underneath, fakes it, gets it knocked away, and now Lawrenceville's on the other end. Card Childers gets to put it home for the Big Red, throws it down with two hands. But I get back to my point. I think their athleticism sometimes just takes over, and their ability to do stuff like this, hit threes on cue, really helps them out in any situation.
Yeah, their three-point shooting has been phenomenal today, and not to take anything away from the Big Red, they've been pretty good from beyond the arc themselves, but just not even in the class of Peddie. It just seems like Peddie's got to be shooting close to, if not over 50% from beyond the arc today.
And it's really, really difficult to defend. I don't know how you do it when they're knocking down every open shot opportunity that they have. In high school, that's not very common. So Lozoya puts two more on the board for the Big Red. About 5.5 to go in the game. Rivers guarded by Federici. Rivers and Lozoya have been going at it. Rivers and Federici. And they're going to call a travel on Nate Hickman as he came up off of his tippy toe. And it'll be Lawrenceville basketball.
I think that's the first travel called on Peddie. After speaking about all the ones that have been called on Lawrenceville, they've been very good with, controlling themselves and being in control of their bodies all day.
Peddie still playing a pressure-packed defense, as they know all of this offensive. 81 points in a high school game is remarkable, and a lot of it is due to the fact that they get the ball in their hands quickly. And as Coach Rulowicz said, they're able to change change ends of the floor really, really quickly. And when you have people that can finish like they do all over the court and guys that can shoot, it's really a good recipe to have. As Langberg's three is off the mark, Lozoya is going to take it the other way for Lawrenceville.
And to continue with kind of the 10 years ago NBA references that I've been making all day long, it almost reminds me a little bit of the Mike D'Antoni era Suns.
Okay, sure.
With the way that they just push the tempo so much. It's not shoot every 6 seconds, but it's quite impressive with the way that they get the ball up and down so quickly. And not only that, but they have some good talent when it comes to shooting the ball as well.
I think that's what the idea was for the Knicks a couple of years ago. Didn't work out. Hickman for three. Got it. Nate Hickman with another three. 84 on the board for Peddie. So now I think we're chasing that 95-point mark, Joe.
Yeah, that is the high water mark this season. They got 4 minutes to go, and here they go again the other way.
Seatram picks Lozoya's pocket and finishes on the other end. And there is going to be a timeout on the floor. Coach Kane just about to calm everybody down on that Lawrenceville bench.
Yeah, I think if anything else, he's doing this timeout mostly to give his players a breather. They've been out there for a long time. Like we mentioned earlier, I believe Grant Newsom has played every minute of this game so far. He's got to be tired. We've seen his impact in this second half be diminished a little bit from what it was in the first.
Yeah, when you're 6'6", 275, not really easy to do.
No.
But he's certainly getting his cardio in, Joe. That's for sure. That is for sure. Checking into the game for Peddie, have a couple newcomers. Alex Brown from Burlington Township, New Jersey, the 5'9" senior into the game for the Falcons, as well as number 20, Sohan Kumar from West Windsor, New Jersey, another 6-foot senior for the Falcons.
Carson Vey also checked into the game.
Carson Vey, an outstanding wide receiver here for the Falcons. Matter of fact, in the football game against Lawrenceville, had a couple really nice catches. He will guard Charlie Card-Childers. Federici from way downtown. Nails it. Federici and Lozoya, you could see how they can score 70 points in a game. Two of them don't really have a conscience. They'll put it up from wherever on the floor, and they're really good shooters. Really good shooters, and really, really quick releases as well.
I believe Federici's got a couple of threes to his credit today.
Langberg wants some more, no good. Rebound goes to Will Jacob, a 5'10" sophomore from New York City. He gets it back over to Federici as Brown will guard the post grad. Just under 3 minutes to go here in the game. Grant Lozoya with a powerful move inside. He's going to finish at the rim. As Everson Brown slowly brings it up the court for Peddie, something that we have not seen often.
Yeah, going into that, I don't want to say victory formation, but the basketball equivalent of it.
Langberg at the top of the key, guarded by Federici. Finds Carson Bay. See a lot of cutting going on, some more passing in this set for the Falcons. There is no shot clock, obviously, in high school. Good pass to Everson Davis, stolen away by Lozoya. Lozoya all the way to the rack. Draws the foul, unable to convert, so he'll go to the line and shoot two.
And you know, that's not really the worst thing, obviously. You're up by 22 for Peddie. You don't need to be scoring on every possession. Just go down, take as much time off the clock as possible. If it ends in a turnover, it ends in a turnover. The most important thing, you keep the clock moving and you just let the rest of this time tick off.
So we have some more substitutions for you. I see big Marlik Touré into the game for Peddie, number 15. Number 25, Asher Barron from New York City. 6'5" senior into the game for the Falcons as well. And for Lawrenceville, Mitch Shotani, Sean Cuskley, and Francis Yu. Sean Cuskley, a standout baseball pitcher. I don't think I needed to say baseball there. I think people would have recognized what pitcher meant.
Could play cricket.
No, they're called bowlers, Joe. Please.
Bowlers?
Yeah, us at Strive have covered a few cricket events.
Learn something new every day.
There you do. There you go. I see Luke Capuzzi in the game as well for Lawrenceville. The only guy wearing a different jersey. Gotta love that out of our boy Luke. Luke Capuzzi, an outstanding football and baseball player for the Lawrenceville Big Red. Had a tremendous kind of breakout season for Lawrenceville. Went in to play quarterback for the last 2 games of the season as their starting quarterback, Randall West, who's headed to the University of Massachusetts to play, was injured, so Luke took over at quarterback. Touré puts up a 3. It's no good. And they're going to call a foul on Carson Vay.
Reason for a little bit of confusion on my end is I got a roster that said that Luke Capuzzi was number 10. He's wearing number 15. And so I will take the blame for that one.
Yeah, you know what? This appears to be a
it's almost like that's their JV jersey that he's got on.
It seems to be a mishap on the part of Luke. Sure, he could probably admit to that, bringing the wrong jersey to the game. 3 ball, no good. Capuzzi with the rebound. A nice move up and under. Mitch Shotani from Tokyo. puts it in for the Big Red. Marlique Torre, a little no-look pass. 30 seconds to go in the game. Torre showing off his handles, gets to the basket, has no intention of sharing the basketball. And this will go the other way for Lawrenceville. Kluski from the free throw line, no good. And Carson Vey will corral the rebound. 12 down to 10 seconds to go here, as it was all Peddie. Not quite a season high, but darn near close to it. 86-70 is your final here, as Peddie takes game 2 of tonight's doubleheader. The Peddie boys basketball team improves to 15-2 on the season. And Joe, we've been reading about it, we've been seeing it in previous games, this offensive juggernaut of Peddie, and they certainly showed it today.
Yeah, you saw big contributions from their big 3 guys, Everson Davis, Nate Hickman, and Brian Rivers, all with great contributions offensively. Rivers both defensively. Hickman had a couple of nice defensive plays as well, as did Davis. They've got a lot of guys who are good two-way players and can score when they have the ball. They can do it from inside. They can do it from outside, as we saw as well when they just caught fire in that second half. They put up 40 points in the second half. And, boy, 86 points in 32 minutes of basketball is one heck of a total.
It's an outstanding performance. It almost doesn't even make sense. But we knew a lot about these players coming into the game, Joe. If you could pick somebody, just pick one person that you were most impressed with their performance today, who do you think it would be?
For Peddie, Brian Rivers. Obviously, you had the high expectations. He's a very good player. Everybody knows that he's a good player. But we saw that he came through and lived up to the hype in this game today and really took control of that game in the second and third quarters and helped Peddie pull away to this victory that they ended up having, being up at 1 point by 28 points, mostly thanks to the contributions that he was making on both sides of the ball.
That's your pick. I'm going to go with Everson Davis. Everson Davis, you've been hearing a lot about how he can score the basketball, how he can shoot, how he can slash, play some defense, but there were some points today where he made some really, really athletic plays under the basket. Here we saw that, actually that was Nate Hickman that I was thinking of, but Everson Davis really just knocked down a couple really important threes. We saw him make the three on the wing here and get fouled and complete the 4-point play. Those are big-time plays. Big time plays. He's only a junior, so he's got a year left here, and he's growing throughout the season. He keeps improving. Today was one of, if not his best performances of the season. So Everson Davis is my pick for the most impressive player today. This team has got to be just oozing with confidence as they continue MAPL and Prep A play down the road.
Certainly, and deservedly so. 15-2 now on the season. That's just their second win inside the MAPL, but boy, that was a big one. Back to 500 there now, 2-2 inside the conference, and going forward, that's got to do a lot for you.
Absolutely. It was a fun day. We saw some JV games, some really tight-knit, some really not tight-knit, but tightly played JV basketball games. We saw a girls game that was controlled for the most part by Lawrenceville, but we saw some excellent stuff, especially in the second quarter from people like Kate Hill, and then we saw a completely dominant performance here in the nightcap of the doubleheader. So Lawrenceville has a lot to go on too. I mean, they have some prolific scorers, they have some excellent talent on the offensive end, and we saw what Grant Lazoya, we saw some flashes of it. Probably didn't have his best game. Grant Newsom played a really good game. I think he played most of the 32 minutes. He might have played the first 3 quarters and did a great job on the boards, on the glass for them. Obviously, the score is going to indicate one thing, but you can't count out this Lawrenceville team. You can't count out any team in this league. There's just too much talent. So we had a blast tonight. We want to thank everybody here at Peddie, Jim Domaraki and Gardner, Will Sodano, Coach Rulowich, Coach Kreider, everybody for helping out, being so accommodating, especially Deanna Ferrante and the communications department. We look forward to our next opportunity here at Peddie. For Alex Deutsch and Joe Vasile, I'm Tom Monfiletto. We will see you next time. Have a great evening, everyone.